All right. I believe we are live after some serious tech problems. What is going on, everybody? This is the Xbox 2 podcast. I am one of your hosts, Randall Thor 19, the man with the million. And we are here celebrating the 250th episode of the Xbox 2. And of course, with me, as always, the one and only managing editor of Windows Central, Jez Corden. What's going on, man?
Hey, buddy. We got here in the end. Yeah, sorry for the lateness, guys. It wasn't completely my fault, but yeah, we're gonna aim to be on time next week. But yeah, we got here in the end. That's the important thing, right? What do you guys think of the new trailer and the new overlay? We got some new graphics on deck thanks to Sean Labrie. I thought, for the new year and episode 250, I thought it'd be a good idea to refresh the branding, and I'm pretty damn happy with it. I wonder what you guys think. What do you think of it, Rand? Did you like the inclusion of my games in the trailer? What did you think of my games that I put in the trailer?
I mean, I actually thought the Diablo one was a nice touch and stuff. So, I agree with you. I was like, it's time for a refresh. The one and only Sean Labrie is super amazing, and he makes everybody look good. Like, look at our little logos there. Look at me and you. Like, we don't look that good in real life, but
Yeah, it made us look better.
Made us look really, really good. So
Julian says it needs more waifus.
No, I mean you got Peppa Pig in there. That's I was adamant against no Peppa Pig, and somehow he slipped it in there.
Oh man, well yeah, you got to have Peppa Pig, the best Xbox game of 2022, right? No,
You would think, but we were late because as I was about to actually click the button to go live, my OBS crashed, and then it was a whole bunch of process because it didn't save a whole bunch of changes I had made, and here we are a little bit late, but we're here on a Friday talking about Friday the 13th, nonetheless. A little spooky day to talk a little bit about everything going on in the world of Xbox, but we actually have some things that we need to discuss because Xbox finally announced their brand new event. There's a lot of kind of like rumors and leaks about other things that may be hitting the service soon, and more ABK Activision drama and everything. So it's going to be a great show. If you guys could do us a huge favor, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if you're new. We're almost at 100K. We're almost at 91,000, which was my goal for this month. I've been trying to put out more videos. Hope you guys are enjoying that. I think I already put out like 5 this month. I'm looking to maybe put one out tomorrow. I do have an idea. So I'm trying my best to put out some content. But the Xbox 2 podcast is always here. We had an incredible Xbox 2 Ultimate show on Tuesday. Hopefully everybody enjoyed that was able to check it out. So there, it was very, personal show. We shared some stories, and we also talked a little bit about some interesting things that only the Ultimate tier members would know, that now have things to think about. So yeah, but Jez, 250 episodes, bro. Be honest with me.
250 episodes.
Be honest with me. Did you think we'd ever get here? 250?
I don't know. I mean, it's so weird, like, because it's sort of it was always just for fun.
Yes.
The show it was always just for fun. I was never really thinking of like, oh man, we need to grow this. We need to, make it something big and important and stuff. And it just sort of happened all naturally. And now I'm just kind of shocked. I mean, I remember one day I realized that we'd hit 1,000 concurrent views on average, and I was like, Jesus, when did that happen?
I know, right?
Clarence Bodica says your mic is crackling, which is weird because I can't hear it crackling on my end, which is scary.
Hold on, let me
OBS, man. OBS. A bunch of people have said OBS has had issues. Has it been updated recently?
I don't know. Hopefully that's better. Let me know. Shout out to JW Universe for being the newest member of the channel. Appreciate it. I wanted to give him a shout out before it scrolls away for me because, yeah. I don't know. Is anybody else here crackling. So this is the thing. OBS crashed. Like, OBS hasn't crashed for me in a while. And everything was fine. Everything was good. And it crashed. And I lost a whole bunch of settings, which is why the podcast was late. And I had to add a whole bunch of different things. And Jez could probably hear me. I was very frustrated.
Yes, he sounded pretty frustrated to me.
Because it was just like... it was just because I was like, all right, we're gonna go good. And then all of a sudden, OBS crashed, and all the changes I had made I had to redo them again. And I'm like, and I don't really like starting late. I like starting at 2:15. People are saying I'm fuzzy, but others are saying I'm fine. Other people are saying I'm not hearing any crackling.
Oh, actually, I can hear it when I put my other headphone on.
There's some
That's
static,
weird.
huh?
Yeah, it's weird. That's weird, bro.
Hold on, let me see. Let me drop out of the call. So
yeah,
make sure. Let me drop out of this call. Maybe it's that. 1 second.
Yeah, maybe.
Keep the people. Well, they won't be able to hear you, so never mind. 1 sec.
Hello?
Yo. All right. Hopefully that's better. I don't know what else I could really do. No, you still hear it?
Yeah, it sounds electric-y. I don't know.
It sounds electric-y, huh?
Maybe you're too close to it, maybe. Have you moved it position or something?
No, it's in the same position.
Oh, that's not... it sounds alright now.
Sounds alright right here?
It sounds alright when you're further back a little bit.
Like what, here?
Yeah. I don't know, that's weird. Don't get too close to it, maybe. I don't know.
Don't get too close to it? Alright. Well, then I will do my best to speak really, really loud. I mean, people are saying that they can hear
it. It's still there. That's so weird.
Yeah. People are split in chat. Some people can hear it. Some people can't hear it. So I don't know.
Yeah, I couldn't hear it when I only had one headphone on, but I can when I have two. We're just gonna have to deal with it and persevere, guys. I suppose it I think it depends how like good your speakers are, whether you can hear it or not. So
yeah, maybe I'll turn down.
Might be the gain or something. That's really strange. It's never happened before.
Nothing's changed on my. Nothing's changed. See, I hate this. I think it's all fucking OBS's fault, and I just swear and I get demonetized. Anyways, I'll do my best.
The first 15 minutes.
I'll do my best to keep it. I don't know. It's like we're just gonna have to go along with it. I don't know. I'm sorry, guys, for the static. I'll look into it later. Go to the mic volume. Maybe I'll change that a little bit. Sound.
It's not too bad. It depends on the speaker quality that people have got. So we'll just have to persevere and try and deal with it. Sorry, guys.
Okay. Well. All right. Change it a little bit. I don't know. We're just gonna have to keep on going. I'm sorry. I didn't know about this before the show because it's just me and Jez, and he said he didn't hear anything. And yes, we are showing World of Warcraft, so Jez finally made it onto the show. So I apologize. Hopefully it's not too bad to you guys listening. And I don't know what else to say. It's stupid OBS. I can't believe it. If it probably didn't crash, we'd have started earlier, and the mic probably wouldn't have been crackling. Anyways,
I'll drop a timestamp here so we can delete this bit maybe. Yeah. And then we can do some housekeeping and get on with the show.
Let's get on with the show. Let's get some housekeeping. This episode is brought to you by Manscaped. Newsflash, gentlemen, Valentine's Day is almost here, and by the grace of Cupid, our friends at Manscaped are here to get your boys downstairs ready for some Valentine's joy. Don't get caught unkempt and untidy on February 13th. Grab a Performance Package 4.0 and give your love spuds some love, bud. Body wash, razors, cologne, and more. Get spicy this V-Day and join the 7 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped, the leaders in below-the-waist grooming, with our exclusive offer. go to manscaped.com and use code XB2 for 20% off and free shipping. And thanks to Manscaped for sponsoring the Xbox 2. So thank you,
Manscaped.
Yeah, they've been with us for a while now. We appreciate Manscaped support, but we also have incredible support from all you guys. You know, everybody in chat, lurking, everybody who subscribed, but also the people who are members of our Patreon at patreon.com/xb2, where one of the tiers you get some shout outs. So Jez.
Yeah, so we've got some Patreon shout-outs as well. Thanks to everyone who subscribes on Patreon, patreon.com/xb2. We've got Sleet XZ, Army Dude 52C, Mr. Butter Jeans, William Schumacher, Hoodie Season, Ryan Kaipol, Foreign Object, Mythic Mighty, Gunstar75, Moran Donkey 99, C Money Mario Kart Madman on YouTube, Macazilla, Randall Boar 19, Randall Thor 19.
Randall Boar 19, excuse me?
Yeah, Randall Ball 19 and Randall 419. Silas, Eric Gregory, Elijah Vasquez, James Moore, Matt Salinas, Katriox, Bright Tundra 1, Jasper Schapp. One Breath Jez, don't know who I am. Justin Duell, Frank Marino, P Bro King, Ace of T and Madison, Untidy Tim, Grizzly Mofo OG, Governor Graham, DZ Huffin, Wuggerman, Achievement, The Scarecrow 1-1, Darren Torpe, Professor JJJ, Butterball, Ghostface Killer, Wolfgang KPZ, and Ralph Wiggum. Thanks to everyone who's jumped on and hit our shout out tier. We really appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
And we also have a Patreon producer shout out.
Yeah,
right?
we have a Patreon producer for this episode is Mario Kart Madman. Hit the link to his YouTube channel's in the description, and he's got a big giveaway he's promoting. So Mario Kart Madman is a gaming news nerd culture let's play channel where every week we put out multiple pieces of content covering gaming, Xbox, PlayStation, Nintendo, PC, anime, comics, and TV shows. And they're also really excited to announce their first giveaway. And they're giving away a copy of the Xbox Series X Day 1 edition of the Callisto Protocol to one lucky viewer of their YouTube channel. So if you're interested in all that sort of content as well as the giveaway, make sure you check out the description and give their channel a look. So thank you for being the Patreon producer this week. So yeah, let's move on from the housekeeping, Jez, because I know, people were worried about you today, Jez. They were. Yeah. You tweeted out some things, a little cryptic. People don't understand. It just goes to show you how much people care about you. That they're worried about what's going on.
Yeah, I appreciate the support for people who messaged me about that. It was nothing to do. A lot of people worried it was about Xbox, and it's like, no, it's not about Xbox. Just well, hopefully you can get through it, but yeah. I already feel better podcasting on here with you guys. It's like a little oasis of calm in a sea of stress at work and all that BS. Rand, I don't know, right? If you want to try unplugging your mic and plugging it back in, maybe. Oh, audio's gone. Hello? Testing. Rand? Oh, man. Google.
All right, how's that? Is that better?
Say something.
Something. Is that better?
Oh, yeah. Thank God. There's no more crackling now.
All right.
Should we just start the fucking show again?
No, it's good. We're professional podcasters. It's live. Things happen when you're live. Things don't always go to plan. It's just whatever. I did some things. I unplugged the mic from the cables from the.
Okay. They can't hear you on the stream.
They can't hear me now.
Yeah. God damn. Oh no. Randy's back. Okay. There's a delay. They couldn't hear you because there's a delay.
I'm just saying. Yeah. It's a live show. Things are bound to happen. OBS crashed. I basically unplugged I unplugged it from the PC. Unplugged it from the mic itself, replugged everything back in while you were talking. So basically reset it. I don't know if it sounds any better, but hopefully it does.
It does sound better. It does sound better on my end.
Good.
But yeah, as I was saying anyway, yeah, it's just turbulent times at work. And now I'm kind of managing editor. I feel responsible a lot when things aren't going well, and I kind of blame myself, and I put a lot of pressure on myself. So it's quite hard to adjust. I've never been a manager before in my life, so it's kind of like, man, could just kind of blame myself, I think, a lot. But as I said before the audio cut out, coming on the podcast, I already feel a lot better. It's the podcast and hanging out with you guys is like an oasis of calm in a otherwise turbulent professional life. So thanks to everyone who's joined the show, and thanks to you, Rand, for being a rock in my life of chaos.
I'm here for you. I'm here for you.
Yeah. Thanks, bro. We'll get through this episode, and yeah, I feel better.
God, look how horrible World of Warcraft is. I don't know how anybody plays this. I'm looking at the footage, and it's awful. I don't know how this.
What are you talking about?
Look how cartoony it is. How old it is. Look at this. It's truly staggering that you play something like this.
Well, dude, the people voted for it, right?
Well, they voted for a random game. Well, they voted for it last week. No. They voted for it last week, and that you couldn't deliver.
Yeah. But I said we put on half World of Warcraft and half random game. Are we just doing World of Warcraft then? I don't know.
Yeah,
we'll have to do random.
It's just
game.
World of Warcraft.
Yeah, okay. Well, it's a random game, I suppose.
Indeed, it is.
But dude, what are you talking about? It's
look at that.
It looks bad.
This is like an OG Xbox game or something, or like a PS1 game. Look how awful it is.
It's amazing. What are you talking about? Those cool ass spell effects and shit. No, I suppose it does. It does kind of look like a Lego game, man. I don't know.
Yeah,
but it's funny. Like I was trolling Halo for looking like a Lego game, and it's like, wow, World of Warcraft kind of looks like a Lego game when you put it like that. But it's just I just love it, man. It's all I've played for the last 3 weeks. The new expansion is so good. It is so good, man. It really does feel like World of Warcraft's back, after like a few years of being terrible. Mikey Barra's there now, and he's like hardcore WoW playing. I can't help but think like Mike is sort of right in the ship to some degree. So yeah, I'm really happy about the direction that game's going in. Well, you played anything this week?
Yeah, we'll talk about that. I just want to get through these super chats so we can get into the show proper. I actually have. Okay, so cool. Spider-Man says, congrats on Chicago getting the first pick in the draft. Love you, Smith. Once a bear, always a bear. Love you in the show. Yeah, I was surprised. I thought the Texans would get the first pick, but the Bears have the first, so it'll be interesting to see what they do because, man, they were pretty freaking awful this year. Carl Andrews Jr. says the show went through a Windows update and crashed. Not a Windows update. It was just OBS screwed everything up. I haven't dealt with this before. I was so frustrated. Sin Vendetta says, happy 250th episode, Rand and Jez. Makes me happy to have been watching the podcast since day one. Looking forward to the next 250 episode. Cheers. Man, day one. I think that was we did the podcast around the Digital Foundry reveal of the Xbox One X in April of 2007. No, 2007.
Oh my God, yeah.
April of 2017. And we've been doing it ever since. We don't always make every week, although we've been making a concerted effort not to skip weeks. And we've been trying our best to do the show on Fridays. But it's definitely been a journey,
There was a couple of years where we like skipped weeks pretty frequently, I think. But we barely skipped weeks since we joined the ad network. So yeah, I mean it's contractually obligated, kind of keeps us. I don't know.
Well, I also like doing the show. Even when
I like doing the show as well, but it's kind of like before there'd be weeks where it's just like, man, I'm just too exhausted, and it's like no big deal if we skip a week or whatever. But now if we skip a week, it's like it's almost like a headache to skip a week, even if like things are really busy and stuff. But because of that, I think I've like been motivated to reorganize my scheduling a little bit, I guess. So like I've just always made it almost like habitual. Friday is podcast day. That's part of my life now. So until I'm old and decrepit and die, we're gonna be doing the show, man. We're gonna be doing the show forever.
Right. We got a big super chat here from Detective Seed saying, happy 250. Really appreciate the podcast and the work you guys put in. Well, thank you for the support. It means a lot to us. Reggie McGough. I'm going to screw up this last name. Reggie McGoggy? I'm so sorry, Reggie. I don't know how to say that. I apologize. Says he's a long-time listener, first-time watching live. Congratulations on 250, the best Xbox podcast about. Thank you, accompanying me on my dog walks. Oh, man. Well, you definitely got to share pictures of your doggo with us.
Doggo.
On Twitter. You know, everybody tag us on Twitter with their pictures of their pets, because I want to see them. We need to cheer up Jez, you know?
Yeah, we should do a pets thread on the Discord or something.
Yeah. Replicant says, less Warcraft slander ran for the Horde. No, I'm always slander World of Warcraft. God Sitman says, did you see the family plan leak? Indeed, we will. It's one of the topics. We'll talk about that as well. Morgan says, y'all fix your train wreck. I'll catch the VOD laughing my ass off. Hey, I mean, you can always check it whenever you want to. I'm sorry that when live things happen, things crash. And things don't always go to plan. It's just the way it is. It's whatever. Anyways, yeah. So let's get straight into some of these topics, Jez, that we have made for everybody. You know, I don't even know where to begin. I guess I'll just begin with the beginning of the week. All right.
But wait, you were going to tell us what you have been playing.
Oh yeah. So I am playing Callisto Protocol, and I think I'm almost done. I'm on chapter 7. I have about maybe 9 or 10 hours into the game. I think I'm almost finished, and I know you enjoyed it, but like usual, you never finish anything. So, you know, you probably haven't even gotten to where I'm at right now, right?
Probably not.
So
I think I got to like chapter 3 or 4, I think.
Yeah, I know. You said that you enjoyed the game. So, I will say...
I was enjoying it, but
you were enjoying it.
World of Warcraft came
out. I'm a little bit... I wasn't really liking this game for the first couple chapters. I thought it was entirely mediocre, and I was like, oh, the reviews are right. Like, outside of how the game looks and the sound, which they've absolutely nailed, I was like, this doesn't feel right. It feels odd. Like, the aiming's odd. I don't like the dodging mechanic that they have. I thought that was awkward. I didn't like the focus on the melee. I was just like, man, this is kind of a disappointment, because I was really looking forward to it. And then I think where I started to at least get better for me was when you got the suit, right? Because one of the big problems with this game, and I know it's a survival horror, was... they really limited your inventory in the beginning, where you really couldn't carry a lot of things. And then you get the suit, and you get more health, and you get more inventory slots. You start unlocking better weapons. Like, you just had the pistol. Now I got the skunk gun and the riot shotgun. And I have a whole bunch of money, so I have, like, the baton upgraded pretty high. I have the pistol fully upgraded. I got the riot shotgun upgraded pretty high. I got the GMP glove upgraded to like the middle tier. And in the beginning, I felt like, oh, this game is very awkward when it comes to multiple enemies or when you're fighting them at once. But now I'm enjoying it more because now I have actually weapons to use with some ammo. And I'm relying less on the melee. I do find the dodging to be just awkward. I don't really feel like it's implemented very well, to be honest. And I don't really think the story is anything special. So I'm enjoying it, but like, I don't know. It's not amazing, and it's definitely like a step below where I thought, like when I'm watching the trailers and getting excited for it. But with that said, I am impressed that this is a studio's first game. Like, this is their first game together, and there's like the makings of something really good there. if they can do a sequel and change some of the things, or at least make some of the things more streamlined, I think it could lead to a better game. But yeah, wasn't liking it in the beginning at all, really. And then I started to actually kind of enjoy myself as the game's been going on. So that's kind of my outlook on Callisto Protocol. Looks amazing, sounds great, but not really a fan of the dodging or the melee. And yeah, like the inventory stuff, I felt kind of held it back a little bit, but I'm enjoying it more now. I'll let you guys know how I feel about it when I finish it, because I do have a lot of games I want to get through.
It's I kind of feel like the game's become a bit of a pariah. Do you know what I mean? Like a lot. It feels like there's like a huge a lot of hate for the game. I think people feel misled or like really disappointed in it because the marketing made the game look really slick. And I think people were really expecting Dead Space, and they presented it like a Dead Space game. You know, they presented it like it's a spiritual successor to Dead Space, and it's really not. It doesn't play like Dead Space at all. It feels like it feels very different. Like the combat's very, I don't know how to describe it. It's so strange. It's like it's very sort of chunky and it lacks dynamism. It's almost kind of like one of those scripted fighting games almost. It's really strange, but I don't know. I was just kind of enjoying it for what it was once I stopped mentally comparing it to Dead Space in my head. But yeah, I don't know. It feels like maybe a missed opportunity, I think. Rand, there's a couple of people in chat who said you missed their super chats. Assassin and Flame.
I'm looking
Do you
for
see
them.
those?
I'm looking for them. I found them. So, I think Jeremy G said $1 for every time this podcast started on time out of the 250. Damn, bro. Damn, that'd be a lot of dollars.
We'll start on time next week. We'll put a stamp in it.
It didn't show this in chat, but it shows it over here. But interesting. Mario De La Cruz says, my favorite podcast. You guys are awesome. Much love. Flame says, happy 250 episodes, gent. Can't imagine my Fridays without the show. The new artwork looks great, but I'm afraid that Rand is not kawaii enough. Shaking my head. Damn. Oh, I mean,
I need to get like an anime artist.
I feel like I need to get Sean and have him take my like avatar and turn that into my Twitter avatar. Although I don't even really use Twitter. I really don't even tweet much. What does it matter what it looks like?
Maybe you should update your channel logo to that new logo.
Maybe I should. I was thinking about it because I do like it a lot. And
yeah,
I would have to have Sean create a new banner and everything too. But maybe it's time for a little refresh.
Yeah, do it.
Travis O'Leary with the little sticker that says, "Hey, you, appreciate you, man." Parker Petrov says, Final Fantasy 14 footage, please, Jez. The one true MMO. And Gold Shell says, am I hearing Avowed possibly as co-op? Haven't we talked about this before, Jez? About the idea of Avowed having co-op? Haven't you brought that up?
Yeah, so I think it was Jeremy Penta who said on Twitter that he's heard that Avowed still has co-op. But yeah, I did say on the podcast before that I'd heard Avowed was at one point it had co-op. But from what I understood, it was something they were considering cutting. But I'm not sure if they did cut it or not. So maybe it does still have co-op, maybe it doesn't. But I know for a fact that at one point they were angling for co-op in Avowed. Whether or not it's made the final cut of the game, I do not know. But considering Pillars of Eternity is basically like their take on Dungeons and Dragons, I would not be surprised if it does have co-op, because let's face it, Dungeons and Dragons is a co-op game. It's the ultimate co-op game at the end of the day. And a lot of the games that sort of riff on Dungeons and Dragons, like Divinity Original Sin, they have co-op and stuff like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if it did have co-op. So yeah. Avowed may well have co-op, but it may also not have co-op. Yeah. We'll have to wait and see.
People are saying, man, Rand doesn't want to say Callisto Protocol is mid or that it sucks. I mean, I don't know. I kind of said that, didn't I? I said the beginning wasn't good and it got a little bit better. So I would definitely say it hasn't met my expectations. and it's mid. I have no aversion to calling a game mid. Maybe it's because my expectations for the game were high. I was like, oh, Glenn Schofield, spiritual successor to Dead Space. Look how this game looks. We don't really get games like this anymore. That looks like a survival horror renaissance. And when I started playing it, I was just like, I don't know. I'm not really feeling it. I'm not really feeling it. And you know what it is? Also, oh my God, the amount of times you have to climb through a vent, or the amount of times you have to squeeze through rocks. This game should just be called the vent crawling simulator or something, because you do it so much that it ruins a lot of what the game's trying to do, a lot of the pacing, because you're just in these tight little sections, and it's just on rails, and you're squeezing through, or you're climbing through, and it just happens so frequently in the beginning of the game that it just ruins the pacing and the atmosphere that the game's trying to set for you. And honestly, the variety of enemies, at least up to this point, have been lacking, and most of them typically attack in the same pattern where it's like left, right? There's only like one new enemy lately that's attacked like with it's mostly just they swipe once and they stop, or they swipe once and then twice. It's only recently that someone added the third attack. So it's like the enemy designs I felt were kind of, I don't know, they weren't super interesting or diverse. And you got, of course, the one that spits at you from a distance, and the ones that come just clamor at you. So I wasn't like, in the beginning I was just like, I don't know, this game is just not doing it for me very much. But it did get a little bit better. But even still, it's just like, I don't know. I'm just a little bit disappointed so far from what I played.
Do you think it'll hit Game Pass? Do you think it'll hit Game Pass?
I don't know. They said that
it's one of the kind of game that would,
I don't know,
do well on Game Pass, maybe?
Maybe it could. I mean, they were like talking about the fact that Game Pass for linear games like his don't do well, but then like High on Life blew up. So I don't know. I mean, it also is PlayStation marketing, so if it does come to Game Pass, I would imagine also have to go to PlayStation Plus. But either way, that's what I've been playing. I think I'm almost finished, and I do have some other games that I want to get to as well. So yeah. Oda says Starfield delay is nothing based on facts. It's based on the game needing a lot of polish. Fallout 4 Boston was unplayable until very close to launch. I mean, I don't know anybody talking about a Fallout delay, but we will talk about the event and everything. What?
No, he's talking about Fallout 4 was delayed.
Oh, well, but he says the Starfield delay is nothing based on facts. It's nothing yeah. So I just assume.
Yeah, and there's a lot of assumption that it'll be delayed. You know, I've got a bet with Rand for $10 that it'll be delayed.
You do have the bet.
I do have the bet. Yeah,
you're right, and we'll talk about that when we get to the developer direct. Sin Vendetta says, "Do we think GoldenEye Remastered is dropping on the 25th?" I keep hearing that it might. I mean, at some point, GoldenEye Remastered has to come out. When did they announce this? In September, was it? At like the Nintendo Direct that showed up, right? And people, and like even Xbox, when they announced it, were like, it's coming soon to Game Pass. You see, that's the thing. Like, Xbox says soon, but like, what does it really mean? What is soon to Xbox when in comparison to soon for us? Soon to Xbox could be in the next year or the next 6 months. I personally wouldn't, if something told me like it's happening soon, I would think it's happening within the week or within the month. 2 months out would be, I don't know, like 6 months is kind of like, is that soon? That's half a year. But then again, it's Nintendo. I mean, maybe there's some hoops there. It's up to them, presumably, I would imagine, when to release it. And I think Xbox is just sort of waiting on Nintendo to release the game. So maybe it comes out this month. I mean, you're assuming Sin on the 25th, that's the developer direct. You know, Aaron Greenberg has been pretty much out there saying the only things that are going to be there are those 4 games. So, don't get your hopes up that other things will be there. But if, Nintendo's the one that announced it, would then Xbox actually announce this release? I don't know. I honestly don't know. And you know what? I honestly don't care, because it's GoldenEye Remastered. And you guys are going to download it like Nick, Special Nick from Xbox Era, who's been talking this game up like it's the second coming. who's saying if it came out last year, it'd be his game of the year. All you guys are going to download this game. You're going to play it for 10 minutes with your rose-tinted glasses, realize that it wasn't really good to begin with, and that it's awful now, and then you'll hit that delete button. It'll be the fastest game ever to be downloaded from Game Pass and then immediately deleted. That's my prediction for GoldenEye.
I concur with your prediction. I think that's a good prediction, probably.
Yes.
GoldenEye is like, it's a lot of nostalgia there, but man, it doesn't hold up, man. It doesn't hold up.
It sure doesn't. Logic Bomb says, my favorite show is called The Peep Show. On it is a character called Jez, but his real name is Jeremy. So is this your real name as well? Did I crack it?
Maybe.
What?
Maybe. Oh man, have you ever watched Peep Show, Rand?
I've never heard of Peep Show.
You should watch it, man. It's a British comedy where it's like a first person sitcom. It's so strange. It's like everything's shot in first person. So it's like when they're talking to each other, it sort of flips between their first person perspective. And it's just so funny. Like, I highly recommend Peep Show to anyone. It's like awkward kind of humor. Apparently they're trying to adapt it for American audiences like The Office, so I don't know. But yeah, you should definitely watch it. Just check some clips out on YouTube. It's really funny. There's a character in it called Jeremy, and they call him Jez because that's how you shorten the name Jeremy in the UK. So like, oftentimes when you search,
wait, hold on,
Jez,
it comes up with your actual name is Jeremy.
I'm not confirming.
You're
anything,
not, bro. I mean, just by what you're saying, that's kind of a confirmation.
No, I'm not
My mind is
anything,
blown.
bro.
Have you ever told me your real name? Because I don't even know if you have.
I'm not confirming anything,
What?
baby.
Holy cow, Jeremy Corden! Oh my lord!
Nah. You should just watch Peep Show, man, and see the other Jeremy, the Jez. I mean the other Jez.
I'm not gonna call you Jeremy from now on.
Ah,
see that sigh means your first name is Jeremy.
Please don't.
I love it. Look, it's okay. You can call me Matthew.
I'm not confirming.
You can call me Matthew. Matthew and Jeremy. We'll put it in the description. We'll be like, hey, join Matthew and Jeremy for the Xbox 2 podcast.
No.
Come on. We're no longer, we need to ascend. We're no longer Rand and Jez. We're now Matthew and Jeremy.
No. Game Plato is close. Jezebel. That's
Jezebel?
my real name. It's Jezebel. Yeah, it's Jezebel.
Oh, Sean LeBrie says he knows Jez's name. Interesting. I might have to hit up Sean about that. But yeah. So Avowed, a co-op. The rumors. I saw ACG's Twitter posts, and I remember you telling me that they were looking at adding it, but you don't know if it's in the final thing. It'd be interesting to have an RPG like that be able to also play with the friend or multiple friends.
Yeah.
I don't know how that would work with like dialogue when you go to talk to somebody. Would both people get the dialogue, and who makes the choice? Presumably the person who's hosting, right? Like, I'm sure there'd be some obstacles you'd have to get around for that. But combat could be really fun in I could see combat being really cool in co-op, but maybe not necessarily the whole RPG aspect of talking to characters and stuff. Because it's really kind of would just be a spectator sport for the second person.
Well, the way they did it in Divinity was, it was quite cool. Like, you were both in the cutscene, and like you could, if you disagreed on a dialogue choice, you'd have to rock paper scissors for it, or roll for it. If you disagreed, like you could disagree on a choice, and then you had to like fight for the choice. So there's precedent for that. And also Star Wars: The Old Republic did it that way as well. Because Star Wars: The Old Republic's an MMO, but it's got the BioWare dialogue trees and cutscenes in it. And like for decisions, the party of 4 players in the dungeon, you would vote for the decision. So like you could end up in a situation where like you don't get the choice you want and stuff because majority rule and all that. I think it can make things quite interesting, and like argumentative and stuff. I think it's quite cool.
Yeah. But let's start at the beginning of this week, shall we? because
topics.
yeah, a lot of people were expecting some sort of Xbox announcement this week, and for whatever reason, people were looking at Monday. Even though Xbox typically likes to announce things on Tuesdays, people were like, all right, something's happening on Monday. I feel it in my bones. And people woke up to one of the greatest Xbox marketing extravaganzas ever with the announcement of Xbox Oreos.
Xbox Oreos. And not only that, Rand.
Xbox
Oreos. Your Oreos, they're only available in Europe.
I know. Usually we here in the US get everything Xbox has to offer. But this time it's our brothers across the little ocean that get these scrumptious cookies, not biscuits, cookies. And
they're not cookies, man. They're not cookies, they're biscuits.
It's funny to see people's reactions. Now, there are always people out there looking to clown Xbox for everything they do. We've talked about this. And Xbox does have some interesting marketing partnerships that they've done in recent years, from American Girl doll. Like, hey, your 12-year-old sister loves her American Girl doll that also has an Xbox Series S with her as a prop, or your Series X mini fridge, or your Xbox body wash, or what other some great marketing examples from Xbox that I'm blanking on at this moment? Oh, the Xbox onesie. Who could forget the onesie? The Xbox nail polish.
I got some of that.
But even the nail polish gave you cosmetics for Halo. This Oreo one gives you cosmetics for Halo, Sea of Thieves, and Forza Horizon.
Pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's just sort of funny to see like people's like expectations to something being announced, and then it's a marketing beat, which they're probably obligated to announce because cookies are going to be in the store, so they have to announce them to get people to buy them, right? But people are like, "What about the games?" It's like, hey, I've seen a lot of people, even like some of my friends were just like, Xbox doing everything but announcing games and release dates. Right? Like, we got cookies for you, we got biscuits for you, but we don't got any games for you. That's Xbox for you, baby. Right? Wink, wink.
So you admit they're biscuits then?
Whatever. I'm using both now.
Oh, thank you for my sake.
Yes, for your sake. So, the biscuits. We got a member chat here from Gaming Forte, who says, still hoping Xbox surprises us with another small announcement. I like that they set clear expectations, but last year was terrible. Time to make that up. You're not happy with some Oreos, Forte? You don't got anybody from the UK who's going to send you packages and packages of sweet, sweet Oreos with Xbox logo on them that you can just eat and enjoy yourself?
I'm gonna go hunting for Xbox Oreos. I think tomorrow. I'll maybe go to Morrison's or something and see if they've got them. Are they out yet?
No,
I don't know if they're even out.
I think they might be out, but people are doing some sort of workaround to get all the cosmetics. All
right.
But then Jez Corden saved us. Jez Corden came out of nowhere, which, by the way, I will, for the record, once again say, I argued with Jez not to leak the event. Jez told me he was going to leak it. I told him, don't do it. It's not a good idea. They're probably going to announce the event on a Wednesday in 2 days. Jez says, I got to do it. And you ended up leaking the event, correct?
Yep, indeed. I was in a position where I had no choice. Well, I suppose I did have a choice, but I was feeling a lot of pressure this week, which has all come to a head today. And not only that, but the way the information came to me made me think that another outlet's got this and under embargo, and we're not on the embargo, kind of. Because the way it came to me was it looked like a press release, you know. So it's kind of like, oh wow, they've sent out press releases to everyone but us. So I kind of just assumed, you know, because it was so detailed. I usually don't get that kind of detail when it comes to some of this stuff. So I was like, well, it's out there, you know, and if it's out there, then, you know, Insider Gaming's probably going to post it at some point, or someone else, Venture Beat or something. I don't know. I thought, well, it might as well be me if it's going to come out. And I was awake, so yeah, I wrote it up.
Yes,
because it was out there. There were people sharing it all over Discord and stuff. So it was just kind of felt like a matter of time then at that point. I was like, well, it can either be me or it can be a competitor. And I've got to deliver traffic so I don't get laid off. So I can grow the site so my friends don't get laid off. And that's kind of the situation we're in. But I figured like it wouldn't matter because it wouldn't have any of the details about exactly what's going to be in the show. We don't know what the footage is going to be, don't know the runtime of the show, all that kind of stuff. Don't know what surprises there might be at the show. So there's still, a lot to look forward to, I think. And I always said that it was going to be a smaller kind of show. It wasn't going to be E3 kind of scale, and it was going to be a developer-oriented thing. So like, we pretty much already had all the information anyway. It was just like the date and the name.
Yes.
So
I just want to put it out there that I'm the good angel on your shoulder. I just never win against your devil on your older shoulder. I was just like, Jez.
Well,
I'm your conscience, bro. I'm just out. I'm just out there, being like, hey,
I always tell myself that it'll move the needle and that people in corporate will notice what we're doing and the work we're doing, and it's it never does. So maybe you're right. I don't know, but it's done now.
It's okay. It's done and over with. But I know some people don't like the fact that I always am the one advising you not to leak stuff, because they want everything leaked, and I'm like, no, that's not a good idea. But here we are. Shout out to E-Rock Math for becoming the newest member. Appreciate you. He also donated a super chat as well. Thank you. Joaquin Branch says, my friends, with Square and now Ubi really starting to struggle, what are your thoughts on the smaller third-party pubs, and where will Ubi be in 5 years? That is a topic we were going to talk about, so we'll get to that. Your question, Joaquin. So the next day, since we're going to go from the timeline, you leaked it. Everybody's getting excited. Okay, finally Xbox is doing this January event, Developer Direct. Don't know much about it because they didn't give the details yet. But people are like, January 25th, finally, we're going to get some release dates. You sort of started a concern movement about Starfield because you said Starfield may not be at the show. And that sort of became the dominating talking point for a day, because people were like, what do you mean Starfield's not going to be at the show? Starfield's supposed to come out in the next 6 months. How could it skip this show? But you did say that there was a good chance it would have its own show. And then we come to Tuesday, Jez, and Xbox, well, not Xbox themselves, but the Forza team lost some members. They lost 10 people, including creative director of Forza Horizon 5, Mike Brown, to form a new studio, Maverick.
It's pretty crazy, right?
Right. This was after Aaron Greenberg had said there was going to be a fun week, right? Starting a week off right with Xbox Oreos. People are like, all right, what's the next day going to bring us? Something good, something tasty, something juicy. We already know the events here from Jez, and the next day brings us pretty, senior leader people leaving Forza to form a brand new studio. And of course, the doom and gloom begins from the same suspects about, this is a huge blow to Xbox, massive blow to Forza, just another reason why you can't trust anybody at Xbox, and they're all doing this just because of subscriptions, and now subscriptions ruin gaming, people are leaving and all that stuff. And what do you got to say to that, Jez, about people leaving one team to go form new studios? Is this
only
hugely a bad thing, Jeremy?
Well, Jeremy. Well, only 5 people left from Playground. Like the other staff were from other studios or something. I don't know, but I'm guessing it's just a case of like, we don't want to make Forza anymore, but Microsoft wants them to make Forza because Forza makes a lot of money. Fans want more Forza Horizon, but these are creative people and they're artists and stuff, and maybe they just don't want to work on Forza Horizon anymore.
Possibly.
And you could argue there's a case to be made that Microsoft should, let them park Forza Horizon for a bit and give it some breathing space, and and like stick to updating it or whatever. It's updating Forza Horizon 5 for a few years and let them make something else. But when there's so much money to be made and there's expectations on new Forza coming, and they're almost Call of Dutying it a little bit. You know, you got like your Treyarch working on Forza Motorsport and your Infinity Ward working on Forza Horizon. You know, kind of thing. You know, you got your double 1-2 punch Forza Sim and then Forza Arcade. You know, so that's the business for them, but at the same time, there's a lot of creative people, there's a lot of artists there, and it's like, you know, they're probably tired of it, and they have the skills to be able to move on and do other things and stuff, you know. So if they have the funds and the ambition and the concepts, then why not? It kind of comes back to this whole debate about competition in the games industry and stuff. It's hilarious when companies are all up in arms about Call of Duty and saying like, oh my god, Microsoft's going to dominate all of gaming, blah 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 blah. When 10 people can just leave and form a studio out of nothing, out of nowhere, because that's the way the game industry works. It's completely open. You can make a game, put it on Steam, and then boom, if it's good, you might have a $1 million business. Have you seen that Duck Duck Goose game that's blowing up on Steam right now with 500,000 concurrent players?
Yeah, I've seen that.
It's another indie game, kind of like Among Us, and it's just blown up out of nowhere. Like, what other industries, creative industries, let you do that? It's not like books and stuff. You need to go through a publisher. You know, movies and TV shows, you need to like beg Netflix to sign you up. But with gaming, you can go direct to consumer. You can go direct to consumer via these open platforms, via Windows or via mobile or whatever. And you know, and I think this is what, you know, the regulators don't get, is that gaming has no gatekeepers. You know, there's no gatekeepers. But anyway, so doom and gloom, yeah. The people are going to doom and gloom all the time. You know, like you said before, you know, people move goalposts. They're going to move goalposts constantly. You know, Starfield could come out and be a massive banger, and the goalposts will shift again. The goalposts will just constantly shift until Microsoft has like this sort of wall of consistent quality on a consistent cadence. The goalposts will continue to shift until there's literally no pitch left. You know, so Microsoft has to fill that pitch with quality content.
Doesn't matter. People, there are certain people that will never give them any credit, but specifically for this, it's just, this is how the industry works. People leave studios and go form other studios. People left Naughty Dog and Sony Santa Monica a couple years ago to form a brand new AAA studio. I think the name of it was like To the Moon. I remember when people left Infinity Ward to go form Respawn. And then before that, they left whatever studio they were at making Medal of Honor to form Infinity Ward. Right? Recently, people left like the Witcher studio to form a new studio. Like, this is why the industry is so dynamic, and the whole monopoly thing is just absolutely absurd, because you can have 5 people leave and go form something else. And you are right. I mean, like, at some point, maybe the people working on Forza are like, I've made my money, right? I was creative director of Forza Horizon 5. I did what I wanted to do. I made some cash. Now I want to go do something else. And you go and you make another game. Granted, it'll take a little bit. All these new studios that are being built off of people leaving other studios that are successful, it's what makes the industry the way it is. It's something to be celebrated rather than something to be like doomed about. Like, oh my God, they'll never recover from this. I mean, I'm sure Forza's in great hands. It's Forza. I don't want to say it doesn't like make itself, but like these are also the same people saying that Forza, you know, is a mid game and nobody cares about car games, and you know, but now it's like, all these talented people left, but it's like, wait a minute, how are they talented? Because you said Forza was just a racing game, and if it's just a racing game and anybody can make it, then the people make it and aren't talented, but now they are talented because they left. Make it make sense, Jez. You know, make it make sense.
Yeah, it's hilarious. You know, it's just fun. It's just fun, more fun.
And who knows, maybe they would, maybe Microsoft would be keen to work with them. Maybe not. Maybe they want to be multi-platform. But there is something to be said about like the creativity aspect of it, because I've always often wondered, Microsoft has very much said, hey, we like to give creative freedom to their studios. And it looks like you do see it in the ones that they've acquired, right? You do see it in the Obsidians. I mean, because if you didn't have creative freedom, there's no way a game like Pentiment gets made, right? Because Pentiment's not going to move numbers. It might be a critical hit, but not many people are going to play it. Certainly nobody's going to buy it. The only way that gets made is because you trust your studios and they can make what they want, right? And you see that across a lot of their studios they acquired, but then you look at like 343 and you beg the question, do they have creative freedom? If they wanted to make something that wasn't Halo, if they want to put Halo on the back burner, would they be allowed to? Or you look at the Coalition. Are they allowed to put Gears on the back burner? You know, we've heard rumors that there's supposed to be a new IP coming from them soon, but was it all a game of telephone? Maybe people are mistaken and it was the Alpha Point demo or the Gears collection or something else. And you look at Playground, you can make the argument that Forza Horizon is bigger than Halo at this specific point in time. And I'm sure there's plenty of people at that studio that are probably like, hey, I would love to work on something else. But if Playground went to Matt Booty and said, hey, can we put Forza Horizon on the back burner and make something completely different? Which, I mean, they are sort of doing with Fable, with the other studio. But what if the people there are like, can we make a different racing game that's not Forza Horizon or something completely new? Do they have the creative freedom to do so? Like, what studios have the freedom to do what they want? And which studios are kind of just locked in to making the big games because those are the ones that people buy systems for and subscribe to Game Pass for and stuff? You know? Do you ever wonder that?
I do wonder that, you know. I mean, there's a hell of a lot of impetus there to be like, well, we want to keep you making... we want Forza Horizon to continue to exist. But, you know, there's 400 devs working on Forza Horizon. You know, you know, hundreds of devs. I don't know the exact number, but there's hundreds of devs working on Forza Horizon, and you know, 5 people leaving is not gonna break the studio. You know, I mean, someone who's below can step up and get promoted, and it'll create like new direction, and you know, and all that kind of stuff. So we're not in the doom and gloom phase for Forza Horizon just yet. So I think it's just more FUD, you know. And also, there's this to consider. Like, when Microsoft bought Playground Games, you have to wonder, what staff had shares in Playground Games, you know? Because there must have been, like, a lot of money, you know, for people who, like, founded the studio or people who've been there for a long time. Maybe they had shares, and maybe they've got the capital to make their own studio and make their own business. You know, I'm not saying that Mike Brown has the capital. I honestly don't know. But this is often what seems to happen as well, is that like when companies get sold, there's new money, and then like that they'll have like a contract that's like, you've got to work as part of this sale, you've got to work with us for like 2 or 3 years or something. And then like after that, they're probably looking at the money they've made from the sale and being like, you know what, I'm gonna make my own studio and then sell it as well. You know?
Yeah. And people forget this was how Playground was made in the first place. It's literally a bunch of people that came from Codemasters and Bazaar to form Playground.
Yeah.
You know? It's just this is how the industry
This is the game industry.
Yeah. I don't know.
People pretend they don't get that so they can spread chaos to people who just, you know, aren't as clued up on it, I guess. But yeah, it's just it's a nothing burger.
Yeah. Now I'll be very interested in seeing what they create. How long it takes them to create, because we talked about it last week. Jason Schreier said, hey, you're making a brand new AAA game right now, you're more than likely, you know, targeting next gen already, which is, you know, presumably 6 years from now. And they're just 10 people. They haven't even started. Who knows when they would start and they said they want to do AAA games for console and PC. Like, you know, what is that? Like 2030? Will we even, you know, if it really takes that long, then it's a long time before we'd see something from them. But I'm very interested because I do think Forza Horizon 5 was really good. They made some tweaks to it from the formula, even though it's sort of been very samey since 3. And Mike Brown was the creative director, so it'll be interesting to see, you know, someone take his spot, and maybe someone taking his spot, you know, can help bring in a breath of fresh air and being like, maybe we should do this differently, right? because that's new people being brought in can bring that breath of fresh air and creativity that the old guard maybe were stuck to. So
Yeah.
we'll just have to see how all that plays out. But I'm interested in their game. But so that was on Tuesday, Forza, and then I guess we'll come to we'll talk about the big thing. We'll talk about the event. We'll talk about what happened on Wednesday. So if everybody's listening, make sure you hit the like button. Please share this out on YouTube or wherever you want to share things, and please hit the subscribe button.
Share it out on YouTube.
Well, I mean, share it out on social media like Twitter and stuff, and please hit the subscribe button. So Wednesday morning, not to my surprise, I figured it would be on Wednesday. Xbox finally announced the January event, and it's an Xbox and Bethesda to present the Developer Direct live stream on January 25th. Well, they're going to provide fans with an inside look at some of the games coming to Xbox, PC, and Game Pass over the next few months. And they said it'll be presented by the game creators. Aaron Greenberg took to Twitter and said, "No hosts," which I was like, hallelujah. Woo! Rand wins, baby. Rand wins. Because one of the things we've been very vocal about, very, very vocal, was you need to do more shows, which they're doing. And number two, those shows better not have no hosts. I don't want to see a presenter who has nothing to do with any of this stuff sitting on some couch or some chair with another cushion or another table with some Skittles and some M&Ms asking cringy dialogue and stuff to a developer. Just show me the games, have a developer talk over it to explain what's going on if you need to, if it's something long. I feel like we've been beating this drum for I don't know how long now, over a year. And Paris is in chat, as I knew. I figured Paris is in chat, and because he said he was sad, and he says, "I sad, Rand." I'm sorry, Paris. If you were the host, I'd be okay with it, because at least you have charisma. Despite the fact that they give you some cringy lines sometimes, you're able to elevate yourself above the cringy lines written for you because you have natural charisma that oozes off the screen. So I'd be perfectly okay if it was you. But I do like the idea of this just being presented from the developers themselves, explaining their games in their own words, hopefully, because we don't need stuff written for them, rather than other people sitting there with M&Ms and being like, so, and whatever. You get the point I was trying to make. I'm sorry, Paris. Yeah, Paris is mad.
M&Ms.
Yeah, like M&Ms. Like you're just like, oh man, we're in for it now, right? And you still have the E3 extended showcase. You still got FanFest, and who knows, whatever they do.
I can't remember whether you said it on Xbox 2 Ultimate on the Patreon or whether you said it on last week's show, but you said that you said hosts are good for certain kinds of shows.
Yes.
Like I love the interviews you can have with a developer and a host and like a sort of free flowing banter. Like Ryan McCaffrey is really great at this. Like Ryan McCaffrey's interviews on IGN are like some of my favorite content on that site. But I don't think it's right for a game reveal. I don't think it's right for a game reveal show that has multiple games in it either. Because it's like, you sort of like, you focus on one thing and then it's almost like you forget what the previous thing was because now you have to focus on the next thing. And I also said, I said in my write-up of the Developer Direct, Starfield would have overshadowed the other content if that was there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's I think this is the right format for the right time for the right stuff, and hopefully it'll be a little less. I don't know, something that can do more rapidly. Like if you've got hosts involved, you have to fly people around and do all this kind of stuff. You can almost do this remotely and edit it together, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
So
I mean, Aaron made reference that this was their first. Kind of, saying that they have more planned, which I'm on board with. Like we've talked about, you got all these studios and all these games. You can't just do one show anymore in the middle of the year and say that's it. We did our part. You know, with the way people don't want to talk about their games until they're 4 to 6 months out now, like you need to have a event at the beginning, your big event in the middle, and maybe another event towards the end to kind of talk about the games at the end of the year, and then rinse repeat. And individual showcases for the bigger games, like Starfield needs its own show, Hellblade needs its own show, you know, Forza Motorsport should get its own show. Like those are things that should happen, you know. So
yeah,
we'll see how this all plays out. We do have a super chat here from Iraq Matt saying, help a Canadian homie out with an Oreo code or two for Halo and or Forza, or buy Shakespeare some treats. Have a good one, fellas. Stay sexy. Shakespeare is scheduled for his surgery on February 26th. So
what's he having done again?
Well, he's got a bunch of these like fatty tumors or little growths on his body. They want to remove it just to make sure. So we're going to be doing that. Infinite Umbra, shout out to you, buddy. He says, I've had both Penguins and Tim Tams now, and they taste largely the same, with Penguins being smoother and Tim Tams being more flavorful. Cloaked Onyx says, Xbox disappointed me with Scalebound's cancellation. I'm used to it now. Xbox hasn't come back from 2015's the greatest games lineup in history. It's funny that you mentioned Scalebound.
Why is that?
You know, because it's just every single week we do the show, somebody always brings up Scalebound. It never fails to happen. Even in like the Ultimate shows that are Patreon exclusive, someone brings up Scalebound. Even on XNC, when you were guesting on Colt and Gaz's show this past Monday, someone brought up Scalebound. It always happens, doesn't it?
Yeah, like Scalebound's just it's a meme now. Like those like cartoons and stuff where there's always like a little mascot that pops in at some point.
Yeah,
Scalebound's become that for the Xbox community. It's I don't know what you call it. What is it? What is it? It's not a meme. It's not a mascot. It's something else. It's like a vestigial limb. It's it's like the scar that won't go away,
And Xbox won't fully be healed until they work with Platinum again and release Scalebound in 2028.
Oh, is that a Randall prediction?
No, that's not no Randall prediction.
Is that a Randall copium?
That is not Randall copium. No. The one game that nobody really cared too much about until it was canceled, and suddenly everyone was like, "Oh my god, this was the game I was going to buy an Xbox for." Sure you were, buddy. Sure you were.
Today, I think the reveal of Scalebound's cancellation is my at least fastest traffic article of all time. I think that got like 500,000 views in a day. I've never had an article blow up like that.
That definitely was a day. It was also I remember when I told you it was canceled a couple weeks beforehand, and you didn't believe me. I said, "Hey, I'm hearing it's canceled," and you're like, "No way, bro. Microsoft would never do that, bro. Scalebound locked in 100% 2022, bro." You know?
Well, the reason I didn't believe you is the reason we're still here talking about it. It's because I knew it'd be such a big deal. I knew it'd be such a thing for Microsoft to essentially shut down development with such, at the time, very high profile studio. Especially in a time when they were being criticized very heavily for the quality of their output, which they're still being criticized very heavily for their quality of their output. When was that whole thing? We're still talking about the quality of their output to this day. I don't know.
Achievement says Scalebound's like the high school girlfriend that got away. Yeah. And Charlie Thompson says, I feel like we should see what the coalition has been working on this year at E3. Thank you guys for all the support. So, back to the developer direct.
Yes.
Then they actually set expectations properly by telling us what's actually going to be there. The studios that are there, Arcane Austin, Mojang, Turn 10, and ZeniMax, online studios. And I don't know if this was always the case, or if they included it because Xbox saw the discussion after you said Starfield might be there. But they said to dedicate the proper amount of time for a deep dive into Bethesda Game Studios, Starfield, a standalone show is in the works. Now, I think they were always going to do this because I think it would be ludicrous to do a show in January, not tell people that Starfield wasn't going to be there because you're planning a bigger show for it, and then have people watch the show and have Starfield not there, and then have the conversation about the show be completely overshadowed by the fact Starfield pulled a no-show. So I think people at Xbox are pretty smart despite what people say. So I would imagine they were always planning on doing this. But, it's something to point out. But here's what they said. So it starts at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. It's going to run for 43 minutes, which is actually a lot of time. And they only mention 4 games here. Elder Scrolls Online, they're going to unveil that major chapter update, and then it's going to directly lead into like its own reveal after the show. Forza Motorsport's going to be there, and they're going to talk about it, and they can't wait to share more gameplay and exciting new details. Minecraft Legends is going to be there with a look into the PvP multiplayer experience. And they're going to have exclusive gameplay. They say it's launching this fall. Probably the game that everybody's looking forward to the most out of all these is Redfall. They say here that they're going to showcase several minutes of gameplay. They'll reveal single and multiplayer gameplay, and that you can expect to learn more about combat customization, bosses, the open world, and more. And I think Xbox Germany sort of tweeted out... what did they tweeted out something that said... they tweeted out something. The German version of the Xbox Wire announcement said, the Developer Direct will focus on amazing features, extensive gameplay showcases, and first-time shared release dates for great Xbox titles coming out the next few months, including Elder Scrolls Online, Forza Motorsport, Minecraft Legends, and Redfall. At least that's what it said via Google Translate. I mean, I don't read German. So that's at least what the German thing was saying, which is something that, I was kind of expecting. Like, hey, if you got some games coming out between now and June, this would be the time to announce when they're actually coming. You had sort of leaked the Redfall date as early May, and it's been kind of going around that it's around May 2nd, with early access potentially being like April 28th.
Didn't we say it was May 2nd on the show?
We mentioned on the show, mainly because the information was already out there from a Reddit user that had said it was May 2nd. So we had mentioned that. I would imagine that, if you're looking at these games, so you probably have Ghostwire. So you got Age of Empires 2 coming out this month at the end of the month. I think maybe you got Ghostwire Tokyo at the end of March. April, potentially Minecraft Legends.
I think Minecraft Legends might be March.
Okay, Minecraft Legends March. Then you would have Redfall early May, followed by, I think, Forza Motorsport in June. But
I know Starfield.
Well, hold on. What do you think about this? Because you wrote an article saying that you were excited for this, and this is the way Xbox should do some of these events moving forward. You wrote a very, very positive article about it, did you not?
Yes, I did. I think, in summary, I thought there was a lot of clever imagery with the way this was all set up. Like the imagery, the graphic was something I noticed immediately. It's like, oh, that's on a whiteboard. They're showing us a whiteboard, and the logo's drawn on with a Sharpie, and there's like things pinned to the whiteboard. It looks like a developer boardroom, a meeting room where developers sit down and like talk things over. And it's almost like Microsoft's inviting us into the developer studio to see things that are in progress. Because one of the things we always criticize them for, Rand, is not setting expectations appropriately.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like as game development cycles have gotten more complex, building like a vertical slice of a product that looks finished is almost impossible these days without using CGI or using fake footage. Like we had this whole thing with Watch Dogs back in the day, where it's like Ubisoft showed this sort of enhanced vision of what Watch Dogs could be, but it wasn't real. It wasn't the real product. And then when we got like the real gameplay of Watch Dogs, it didn't look anything like the presentation they put together, So like developers were like, okay, we've been caught out for doing that. So what we'll do now is we'll show footage further along in development, And then we get these content droughts like we're having now. So then, like, everyone was begging Microsoft to show off Halo Infinite, and rightfully so, because since it was supposed to launch that year. And then we get a look at it, and it's like, man, it ain't finished. This ain't it. You know, we got the whole Craig meme out of it. Lighting wasn't implemented, textures weren't implemented, or they weren't implemented, or they weren't designed properly, or whatever. I don't know, but it didn't look finished. So now we're in a situation where it's like, well, we can't show off the game until it's closer to being finished. But people are demanding that we show off the games that we've announced. Marketing has to evolve with the way game development is evolving. And that means setting expectations appropriately, which is like, yes, what we're showing you here is not finished content. You know, they have to rip that Band-Aid off, right? And give us a look at things that aren't finished, a look at things that are in development, you know. Or the whole industry needs to do this. They need to demystify the game development and sort of peel back the curtain and allow people to see things that are in development, because otherwise they're not going to have anything to show for it, you know, until the last minute, you know. And I've noticed EA started doing this. Like, EA showed off Dragon Age 4 content, like they showed off some stuff right in the 3D modeling editor thing. And they showed off a lot of Dead Space Remake over the last year before it was completely finished, you know. So it was kind of cool to see like Dead Space in development, you know. And Rhys Elliott in chat says EA's been doing this as well with Skate. And I think that's the future of the way marketing is going to be for games. It's going to be like bringing us into the studio, letting us see things a little bit dirty, a little bit rough, you know, almost like in early access, you know. And I think that's just the way it's going to be moving forward, you know. So I think it's the right format. It's a new approach for not just Microsoft, but the whole gaming industry. And I think it's absolutely the right thing to do, you know. And I guess we'll just have to see how it all plays out in the end.
Yeah.
But do you have any different thoughts on that? Do you think I'm overthinking it?
No. I like this approach. I like the idea of like, hey, we're going to have an event at the beginning of the year if the game's coming. And this is, you know, an extended look at gameplay, because I do like to see me some gameplay. You know, CGI trailers, you know, I think they sort of lost their luster for me in recent years. You know, I'm okay with them announcing it as like you're announcing a brand new game with CGI trailer. I'm fine with. But usually after that, I kind of just want to see gameplay, right? Like, use your CGI trailer to announce the game, you know, get some people, you know, if you're going on a hiring spree. But I like this, like, all right, this is the first half of the year. We got some games coming. We're going to do a developer direct, hear from the devs themselves, you know, because even now, even after interviews with the Redfall, right, it's one thing to read the interviews, but it's another thing to see something in motion being explained to you. But, like, this is Redfall, right? You need to get rid of the stigma that Redfall is this Left 4 Dead clone that's been basically permeating every talking point about the game since it was revealed 2 years ago. And it's not really enough to have interviews where they name drop, you know, games like Far Cry 2 or Stalker, and you know, it's because it's just words on a page. You want to be able to see that in motion, see what it actually means on screen for the things you're actually going to be doing. So I do like the idea. I guess it all depends on the execution, right? Of how is it mostly going to be showing us footage with the developers talking over it, or is it going to be developers on camera talking about it and then cutting back to footage of the game? I guess it really depends on that aspect of it. But I'm initially going off this without having seen the show. I like this format, right? I like the idea of doing this for the games coming, and then you still would have your big showcase in the middle of the year where you can, you know, I don't know if they're still going to do the 12-month thing, but you can still have new looks and new announcement at games that aren't necessarily coming soon, and then you could have another show later on the year, and rinse and repeat with individual showcases. Like, I'm a fan of this for now. Like I said, need to see. Because initially when they're like, hey, we're doing Inside Xbox, everyone's like, all right, cool, Inside Xbox every month? That's going to be something really interesting. I can't wait to watch it every month. And then every month you watched it, there wasn't really any big announcements. There wasn't any really new gameplay. It was just a bunch of people on screen basically dragging the content out for an hour. And it just was boring to watch. And you think to yourself, well, who's actually watching this? Surely not casuals. This is supposed to be for the hardcore, but it doesn't really seem geared towards them. So they ended inside Xbox. But now it's like, now you actually have the games and the announcements, and not only from your own first party, but you got like Game Pass stuff. You got big games coming to Game Pass like Atomic Heart and Wolong, and Benedict Fox, and who knows what else. It would do you, I think, a really good service to talk about those games more, show those things off, explain them more, be more, upfront with your audience, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. But the proof will be in the pudding of how it's presented. I'm real. You know what? I'm gonna put a. Well, no, I'm not. I was gonna say I put a poll in the chat.
Drop a poll in there. Don't sleep on Wolong, by the way.
Don't sleep on Wolong. I mean, I'm very interested. What are you most excited excited to see from this event? So why should I be excited for Wolong? Redfall.
Just don't sleep on it, bro.
Redfall.
Just don't sleep on it, bro.
Don't sleep on it. Forza. We'll add an option here. Minecraft. I would imagine this poll is going to be heavily weighted towards Redfall.
Don't say it or you bias it.
ESO.
You biased it now.
Here we go.
You biased it.
Ask the community. Get this poll ready. So yeah, make sure you guys vote in the poll. I already know what's going to win. It'd be an interesting story if Starfield was part of it. So I would imagine Redfall would win this one. So looking forward to January 25th. Can't wait to see everything the Xbox is going to show. I know people are like expecting surprises. Space Channel 5 in Super Chat says they did this a lot with Hellblade 1. Indeed, they have. Hacky Sack said, would you gents be interested in interviewing devs? I don't know. That's something me and Jez would have to talk about. Maybe. But Aaron did say on Twitter that also, since many folks have asked, our show is tracking 43 minutes long. As outlined in this announcement, our goal has been to be as transparent as possible on what the devs, teams, games to expect to see in our show. Be sure to read the details from the 4 teams. So they're very much out here saying, it's just these 4 things. 43 minutes long, just these 4 things. And I know a lot of people are like, oh, there's got to be more surprises, more announcements and stuff like that. Do you think there will be? Or should people just go in and expecting those 4 things, and if there is more, then you're pleasantly surprised?
Sorry, can you repeat that last
Do you think there's going to be more announcements than the 4 games that Aaron talked about?
Well, yeah, I heard the first bit. So it's interesting, right? Because Jeff Grubb said there was going to be Hi-Fi Rush at this show.
Right.
Now, I haven't never heard a thing about Hi-Fi Rush. But it seems like maybe it's not going to be there based on what they've said. But it would make sense that Jeff had heard it was going to be there to corroborate this show. So maybe it got like pushed out of this show or something. Maybe they want to show it later or something like that. I don't know. But there's also the off chance that there will be some surprises at the show, because one of the topics we're talking about today is the Xbox Game Pass family plan, which seems to be gearing up for expansion beyond Ireland and Colombia. So maybe that's something you announce at this show as well, even if in brief, between gameplay footage. Aaron Greenberg said the show runs about 45 minutes long, I think, off the top of my head.
43 minutes.
So
yes.
43 minutes. So you have to presume, 4 games really fill for that much amount of time?
10 minutes per game.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, but yeah, I mean, there could be other announcements there, Maybe at least there'll be game trailers there to remind us of things like Age of Empires, for example. I wouldn't be surprised. But, I mean, it's a big question mark. Will there be more stuff there, I want to ask you something, Rand. This is slightly on a tangent.
Okay.
Back in December, I'd heard that ZeniMax was going to be there to show off their new IP. not Elder Scrolls Online. And it looks like it is Elder Scrolls Online, not their new IP. We know they're working on a new IP because they've pretty much announced it, and they're hiring.
They've been working on it for 4 years. AAA. Don't know what
Do we know if it's a new IP?
I mean, they've said it's a new IP.
A random new IP.
They've said it's a new IP, but what exactly is a new IP, right? I don't know.
Yeah. The reason I ask is because I can't remember, but I think someone DM'd me, and I apologize. I've forgotten who it was, so I can't give you credit, but this was an interesting thing they suggested to me. What if their new game is Starfield multiplayer?
A Starfield MMO?
Yeah.
So you'd have...
Because that would technically be a new IP, right?
You're kind of waiting. I don't know. That's kind of... I mean, yeah, I guess it would.
Like a Starfield 76.
Yeah, but you wouldn't call Fallout 76 a new IP, though. And I don't know. I don't know if you would call...
It is a new IP, technically.
No.
We're working on a new IP. I don't know. I thought that was interesting. I don't know.
I don't know.
It's meant to be sci-fi. I don't know.
I'm interested in seeing what they're going to do. But yeah, as for like new surprises, look, Aaron's trying to set expectations, which is exactly what he should be doing, which is what they should have did before the Game Awards and what they should have did before E3. Before E3, they should have been like, everything we're showing here is stuff coming in the next year. So people have been like, okay. And then before the Game Awards, they should have said, we're not going to be there. And people have been like, okay. And now he's actually doing it by saying Starfield's not there, it's getting its own show. And this is it. There's only these 4 things. Don't expect anything else. Although Aaron has been prone to set expectations and then actually Xbox delivers. Because I remember the year they revealed Perfect Dark, he was like, we don't got much to show, and then they revealed Perfect Dark. So he tends to kind of go for the, what's the saying? Under-deliver, something and over-deliver. You basically under-promise and over-deliver, I think, is how it's said. But it's like, hey, it's just these 4 things, and if there's actually more, like Game Pass announcements, because, well, the second half of the Game Pass stuff would fall around, like, literally, like, normally it's the Tuesday, and it would be the day before, so wouldn't you want to hold that until that day and maybe have some bigger announcements for it? Ubisoft Plus, rumored to come to Xbox. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Would that be a day to announce it? The Game Pass Family Plan, would that be a day to announce? There's like things lining up in the background that are like, these things are probably about to get announced, but if there's only a place you could announce them at, right? Oh, there just happens to be, but the expectation's set where it's just this 4. So if any new game is revealed, well, now you've over-delivered. Like if Hi-Fi Rush is actually there, then they've over-delivered above their expectations.
Yeah.
Right?
People in chat are saying under-promise and then
under-promise, over-deliver. There you go.
And that's pretty much how you build authority with your content, you know. If you do have a clickbait headline, you better over-deliver on that headline, you know, or that YouTube video or whatever. So, yeah, maybe they will completely over-deliver. I think it was a smart play to do, because one of the things I have been criticized for by us and others is this, you know, mismanaging expectations and stuff. So, yeah.
Well, the poll has got 440 votes. Not a surprise that Redfall sits at 71%, Forza with 22%, Minecraft with 4%, and ESO with 3%. So, not a surprise whatsoever. But I guess got to talk about Starfield, because this is the other aspect of the show, about it not being there, but having its own show, which is the absolute right thing to do. You need its own 40-minute show to showcase everything that Starfield is doing. I think you do it as a service, just to like only whatever the demo was that they showed last year was like 8 minutes or whatever. You still didn't really get a good sense of what it is. They need this big thing to present it as like, oh my god, it's this get ready for this huge game. Stephen Boxley says if Starfield's 30 FPS, does that hurt the rep? Maybe for some people it would, but I mean, it is available to play on PC. I mean, maybe you can say it's a next-gen only game, but 30 frames on the world's most powerful console isn't the best look.
Well, that's the discussion now. We've shifted away from the launch date, and that's the thing everyone's discussing is will it have a performance mode?
Yes.
Do you want to should we put poll in chat? Like, do you want to have another bet, Rand? Do you think Starfield will have a performance mode?
No.
You think it'll be 30
yes.
locked?
I've been thinking I think we're both in agreement in here. I think it's both I think it's gonna be 30. So I don't think there's a bet for us to have. Glitch Doctor says, member for 27 months, he says, I think it would be great to have a developer direct every 3 to 6 months and get rid of the next 12-month model and do a regular E3 show instead. I'd be 100% for that. But, who knows about the 30 FPS stuff. I'm happy that they're going to start doing individual showcases because it's something I've been like, hey, you need to do this. Now that comes to people asking us to talk about when do we see it releasing. And I've always said the earliest it could release is June, right? I've been saying that for a while, even though my prediction for April is one of those things where it's like, I don't actually think it's April. Jez was on to me. He's like, oh, you need to throw out some wrong predictions to cover your right predictions. I don't think it's coming in April. I think the earliest it could come out is June.
June's wild, man. There's Diablo, there's Final Fantasy.
Yeah, there is. June's, but see, I think Starfield would overshadow Final Fantasy 16, no problem. I think it would.
Well, considering Final Fantasy 16 is not hitting PC, and the developer said if you want to play Final Fantasy 16, buy a PlayStation 5. That's maybe it will.
I mean, 100%. You're talking about PC. Starfield, a game that's on Xbox and PC and in Game Pass. More people will be playing Starfield and talking about Starfield than Final Fantasy 16.
The modding community is going to be all over Starfield. There's going to be mods for Starfield day one.
Well, probably. I guess we're talking about this because we do get a super chat here from Crazy who says, "Hey, Jez and Rand, do you think Starfield will release before June? And do you think Starfield will release before Redfall?" So
nope and nope.
Jez is nope and nope. I'm nope and nope either. I guess the question then is like,
wait, what? You don't think it's going to release before June?
Well, before June, I take him by May, meaning like before May, like before June. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So no,
okay, yeah.
I think
so
the earliest.
You think June?
I think the earliest it could be is June, the absolute earliest.
Yeah, but you bet me it would release before the end.
I did because it's only $10, and honestly, it's like whatever. I pay $30 for the Patreon, and you don't have to give me back $20, so it's not that big of a deal. I would have second thoughts if I was, betting like $1,000 or whatever. I
should have said let's bet $100.
Yeah, maybe you should have said that.
I don't think it's launching before the end of June, man. I'm increasingly swaying to like September or beyond, personally. And that's not based on any rumors or whatever. It's just kind of my pessimism.
Yeah, you do got
I just got a feeling. I got a feeling in my gut, man, in my bones, you know. I just got a feeling in my bones, man. Yeah, I would prepare yourself to expect Starfield later.
Here's a poll that everybody can get into. It's about Starfield. Shout out to I think we almost had 1,700 people here watching, which is amazing. Make sure you hit the like button if you're enjoying the show, and please subscribe. When do you think Starfield will release? This should be a good one, Jez. Question mark. Yep. We'll do before June or before June 31st, right? As one option. Then we'll have July through August, right? As another option. And then we'll have September through October as another option. And then we'll just finally have as the fourth option November. I'd be very interested in seeing your guys' I don't know where you're going to land on this. So where do you think Starfield released? Before June 31st? Anywhere between July and August? Anywhere between September and October? Or November?
A lot of people are optimistic.
Very optimistic.
A lot of people are optimistic. So like I'm maybe I'm just a pessimistic person, man. Not a lot of people are on my side there, bro. Not a lot of people.
One bad mother says, "Where's December, Rand?" I mean, I don't know. I that's a good question. I probably should have put November to December, but I guess if you really think it's gonna be December, then just vote for November. A vote for November counts as a vote for December. We'll just say that, right?
Yeah.
So make sure you guys vote. Make sure you guys also, if you're joining the podcast, hit the like button. Let me get a couple of these super chats, and then, I'll give my thoughts about the Starfield thing. So we have one here from Antagonist says, Rand, what book series are you reading right now? I am reading the second book in the Age of Madness trilogy by Joe Abercrombie called The Trouble with Peace, book number 2, which is the second sequel series, which is the sequel series to The First Law. This is basically the First Law world. There's like 9 books, and I'm on book, what is it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm on the 8th book. Loving it. Grimdark, incredible characters, very violent, great characters. Really enjoying it. I think I read 200 pages last night. Can't wait to finish it and then get to the 3rd book, the last one, Wisdom of Crowds. Legendary Drop says, I wouldn't count out Final Fantasy 15 or 16. Is that 15? 16.
XVI?
16. Yeah, VI. The team in Nako Yoshida are bringing something incredible special to RPG fans. I mean, I'm not really counting out Final Fantasy. I'm just looking at like Xbox and Game Pass plus PC and Game Pass on PC versus just strictly PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Final Fantasy 16 is going to be a bad game. I just sort of feel like it would get overshadowed because of Starfield. And Grumpy Duck says, what game do you guys think has the best music? Mass Effect has some incredible music.
I've been listening to...
Halo's got incredible music.
Final Fantasy... I don't really play it, but Final Fantasy 14, the MMO, has some really great music. Final Fantasy in general has some amazing music, like across the whole franchise. I listen to Final Fantasy music a lot just for focusing and studying and stuff. I do sleep like Final Fantasy. If you want something to sleep to, search for Final Fantasy piano playlist on Spotify, and it's just like calming piano music, covers of various Final Fantasy games. It's great. Like that's why my Spotify Wrapped at the end of the year is always fucked, because I just listen to Final Fantasy music to go to sleep all the time. And now it's just like, oh, my entire algorithm is like, man, this guy really loves Final Fantasy piano music. Oh man.
Our AR Not Skywalker says, Maddie on the latest Finding Duke said his source said Starfield is probably be moved to late summer. He said internal word is positive, probably for polish and testing. So we're back to the Starfield thing. The way I sort of look at it is, I know a lot of people have this really romantic idea of Starfield having a Super Bowl ad on February 12th at the big game. Microsoft spending a ton of money, having the showcase in February, and then basically launching it in March. Right? A lot of people are talking about a 3/23/23 release date because it's Todd, and Todd likes those dates, and the original date was 11/11/2022, so why not 3/23/23? Right? The way I sort of look at it is, you're going to want to market Starfield, being that's a new IP. So I just don't see there being enough time to market it properly by March. So I sort of rule out any time before June. Because if you look at it right now, Xbox has Minecraft Legends, Redfall, and Forza. And they're doing this event at the end of June to actually give us the release dates for these games that are 4 to 5 to 6 months out. Basically starting the marketing for this stuff now. And I feel like you need to go heavier with Starfield. So I think dropping a showcase for Starfield in February and launching it in March would be a disservice to that game. So I look at like the earliest it could release is June with a showcase, essentially in April, maybe a month before in May. But I sort of am less optimistic that it's going to hit before June. So if you had to take my bet, if I was betting money on this, I would say I would put my chips on Starfield coming in the second half of the year. So I think I'm going to lose $10 to Jez.
Yeah.
I think it's probably going to release. If I had to then also pick a release date, a release month, I would probably pick October.
October.
I would pick September or October.
I was thinking September, but yeah, I suppose October's the thing. I was thinking that gun for September, so that could be in the game of the year.
I just don't really think there's enough time for left for them to actually kind of showcase it, market it, and release it between now and June. If it was at this developer direct, and then they were going to date it, that'd be one thing. I don't know. I just feel that it's going like I think they know that this game needs to be perfect, or at least launch in a completely better state than other Bethesda games. And even though Todd said that they were putting the finishing touches on the game in June of last year, and that it's all in polishing and all that stuff now, I feel like they want it to be as perfect as it possibly can. And if Bethesda was independent, like if they still, were by themselves and nobody had bought them, I think Starfield would have came out last year, 100%. And they would just rolled the dice and been like, this is our big game. You're going to have to deal with the bugs and the lack of polish. We just need this out because we need, the revenue. We need all that stuff, right? We need this revenue from Starfield. Shout out to Gene Park in the chat. Hope you're doing well. I think Gene Park's a really cool dude, by the way. Gene Park just said, "What's good, boys?"
Gene Park is amazing. Love you, Gene. You're awesome. Mod that guy, man. Mod him.
I should mod him. Well, you mod him.
I can't mod him.
Oh,
you're the channel. You're the channel guy. Tom 909 underscore Tom 909 says, does Starfield's release date matter if it's excellent?
No, it doesn't.
And yeah, it doesn't. There's going to be a lot of there's going to be a lot of rage, and there's going to be a lot of drama if they do announce another delay, sure. But a year after launch, if it's great and it blows up and everyone loves it, and it's got millions of mods, and it's got huge amounts of streamers and stuff like that, no one's going to care. Because it's most gamers aren't just sitting there waiting for the next exclusive. They're just playing other random stuff, I'll just play World of Warcraft for 6 months. It's no skin off my back if it's delayed.
See, I think they know how important Starfield is to Xbox. Like literally. I think they know it deep down to their bones that this could be a turning point for Xbox and how people view Xbox and how people look at Bethesda. Right? I've said it's the biggest new IP for them since the original Halo. And you need to get it completely perfect because all eyes are on you. Like, you can't screw this up. So it needs to launch in the best state a Bethesda game has ever launched, especially after you release Fallout 76, which everybody literally shitted on, and rightfully so, because it didn't work.
But now it's really popular.
Sure, it may be popular now, but it certainly wasn't then, and that did hurt some of their, rep with hardcore gamers. So if the idea is like Xbox is like set themselves up for this because they backed themselves in a quarter and said everything's coming in this show by the end of June. So you set a deadline for it. But if your goal is to release Starfield as the best product it can be, and you have to be like, we either release it to meet what we said we would do, or we could give the teams at Bethesda and Todd more time to make this the best game it possibly can be, so that nobody's complaining about it when it launches. I think Phil and them have repeatedly shown that they're okay with games slipping or getting pushed as long as it becomes a better product for it. And like you said, sure, if the game is pushed to late summer, early fall, yes, people will absolutely cream Microsoft on social media, right? People will be like, it's an L. How could you do this? You lied. 100%. And maybe they deserve it because they're the ones who set expectations. Because we've been talking about expectations, right? But when you actually play it, you won't care that it was delayed a couple extra months from when it was supposed to come because you actually got, like a better product for it. But then again, I could be completely wrong. This is just my gut feeling. The game may come out on March 23rd, 2023, or in between now and June, and everybody will look back on this episode and look back on this poll and be like, Rand and Jez, you guys are completely wrong. Screw your pessimism. Optimism is the way to go. And I'm usually one if you'd have say who's the more optimistic one between me and Jez, it's me. I'm constantly the more optimistic one. I'm the one who always looks at like, the glass is half full when it comes to Xbox, and Jez is more the one who's like, the glass is almost empty, right? And
the glass isn't even empty; it's just shattered. And I've stepped in the glass, and there's blood everywhere.
And I don't know. I'm just making a guess. I feel that I feel like it'll be the second half of the year, closer to September and October, which will suck because I'm sure whenever I would imagine they would announce the delay at some point on Twitter whenever they know the release date, and you'll have another round of people freaking out as people always do. Maybe that's just what I think. Who am I really? I'm nobody. But those are my thoughts on Starfield. But I think it's good that they said it wasn't going to be here. I think it's great that it's going to get its own showcase because it deserves it. And the game should only launch when Todd and everybody are fully happy with the product because they know how much this game means. You can't release, a bad Starfield because that kind of sets like the wrong tone for the, like what Xbox is doing. Like, oh man, like you screwed up Bethesda. What are you guys doing? So you endure the people hating on you for delaying the game a second time, which is embarrassing, especially after you updated the support page to the first half of the year. Because whatever, now you got to get around that. But once the game comes out, and if it's a really good, like we all expect it to be, people won't remember that, they didn't keep to their promise as long as the game's good. If the game's bad, that's a different story. So,
yeah.
That's that. But the other thing, because we mentioned, Jez, about things that maybe might be at the show, is the Game Pass Family Plan, because it's starting to show up in the U.S. here and there, right? But I guess first, let me get this poll, which we did 13 minutes ago, that has 673 votes. Let me end this thing. And, before June 31st has 56%. July through August has 16%. September to October has 14%. And November has 12%. So overwhelmingly, everybody, majority here believe that it's coming before June. So, we'll see. Hopefully I'm wrong. I would love to be wrong. I love my gut to be wrong, and I would love to be playing it in June. You know what? Maybe they should just the ABK deal should close in May, and they should be like, Diablo, you're delayed to the fall. Starfield, you're coming out.
No.
Yes.
Don't put that energy out there, man.
Yes.
They can delay Starfield the whole last year if they want. But
no. How about you delay Diablo? That's what I want. I want Just to suffer.
Well, how about this? You put Diablo in Game Pass to sort of placate everyone and be like, yeah, Starfield's delayed, but here's Diablo in Game Pass. look at this instead. You know, I think that could work out really well for maybe, right? No, right? No.
Mm.
Oh,
Either
so
way, what about
what's this game?
the Game Pass Family Plan?
Yeah.
Which
So what actually happened here? Because I kind of missed this because I was
I
busy
saw
at work.
people. I think Sullivan over on the Reset Era Xbox thread opened up his PC app and actually saw it advertised to him like, "Hey, here's the Game Pass thing, family plan." And then I believe I'm trying to find it because I saw people tweeted it that like people have seen it where it's like sign up for the Xbox Family Plan test 1 month. It's like in the store, but like you can't obviously sign up for it. But it definitely seems like, if they're getting stuff on the back end of the store is getting ready, definitely sort of seems like that is like right here, the Xbox Game Pass Friends and Family Xbox Game Pass test 1 month. The bundle's not available, but it is a test page showing up in the U.S. Even with a link, Jez, there's a link for this that you can go to and see it.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it on my Alpha Ring Xbox right now. I'm not seeing anything on the UK.
I mean,
least.
It's not. I don't think it's on the Xbox, but I think it's on the website here. I'll DM it to you.
Oh, the web.
Yeah, it's on the web. Let me DM it to you so you can check it out. So, for those that don't know, what is the family plan, Jazz?
So the family plan, I believe this was one of my leaks, wasn't it?
I think so.
Did I leak this?
Yes, I believe so.
I lose track. So we posted about the Xbox Game Pass family plan, or was it last year? I think last year in spring, I want to say. And this was a rumor that I'd heard that in pretty solid sourcing, that you were going to be able to pay, I believe, $20 a month, I want to say, to get a bunch of extra accounts. I didn't have details on pricing or how many, but it turns out that it's actually really generous. Isn't it like $20 a month gets you 4 accounts?
$25 a month.
$25 a month.
Yes.
$25 gets you 4 accounts, all sharing Game Pass concurrently. So like, on the same subscription, you can have one person on the phone and one person blah, blah, blah. Like their Microsoft account just gets access to it. Works the same way as Office 365 for families or whatever it's called. So like, in the subsequent weeks or months, it became true. Microsoft announced it, and they were like, yeah, it's a thing. We're testing it in Colombia and Ireland right now. And, over time, we'll roll it out to more people. And yeah, Calorie says it's 5 accounts. So yeah, it's 5 accounts. It's even more generous than I said. So it's 4 accounts in addition to the person who owns a subscription. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty crazy, right? Crazy value. But one of the things we didn't know was when it was going to come out and, hit more markets and that kind of thing. Like they're testing it in Ireland and Colombia, I think, because they want to see how it changes user behavior. And I think their mentality is like, we need to make sure we get the pricing right for this, because it could actually harm the profitability of Game Pass. I think if it's sort of like if everyone switches to it, I think and everyone switches to it and everyone uses it, they could actually lose money if you think about it. But it's also that they're also in that user acquisition phase, which is similar to, Netflix, where Netflix was like, oh shit, everyone's account sharing. And like, there's probably executives at Netflix HQ like, dude, everyone's sharing their accounts. What do we do? And then it was like, okay, so everyone's sharing their accounts, but also it's okay because that means they're sort of virally marketing Netflix for us. And it was actually like account sharing that helped Netflix become a habit for people, and it was kind of like, it kind of blew up like that. Microsoft can't let you share your Xbox account because it's actually against the terms of service, but they're still making the barrier to entry very low, right? But I think they probably are thinking like, damn, if we rolled this out tomorrow and then like everyone just used it instead of buying individual subscriptions, that could actually be very costly. So I think they're being very careful about how they roll this out. I wouldn't be surprised if like the pricing is different per region, for example. I think it's 25 euros in Ireland, but I would not be surprised if it was 30 quid in Britain, for example. I would not be surprised. And stuff like that. I wouldn't be surprised if it ended up being $30 in America, for example, or something like that. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, it does seem like gearing up to a more broader rollout, and we'll just have to wait. Are you gonna get it for you and your mates, Rand?
I mean,
because you could potentially save money even on two people.
I mean,
it's Game Pass Ultimate. It's Game Pass
true.
Ultimate.
I already have Game Pass Ultimate, and I already have Game Pass Ultimate for the next 3 years. So, all my friends all have Game Pass themselves. I guess it's possible we all just be like one person pays it, we just pay them. I don't really know though. Maybe it's one of those things where I set it up and I just get 4 Patreons to be in my family. How about we could do something like that, right, Jez?
Well, as long as they're in the same country.
Oh yeah, you'd have to be in the same country. So you take care of 4. You take care of 4 UK patrons. I'll take care of 4 US patrons.
Yeah, could do. I mean, I already know that I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna give my girlfriend, my brother, maybe some other friends and family and stuff like that. That's probably how I'd do it. But yeah, it does seems pretty awesome, right? Almost like too good to be true.
Well, you should take a look at this page because it's like this is legit. Okay, let's have a look. They have shared the fun of Game Pass with friends and family. Share the Game Pass Ultimate benefits among 5 family members and friends to enjoy hundreds of games together. Each member will enjoy a personalized experience wherever each account has its own gaming history, achievements, gamer tags, saves, and built-in preferences. Offer currently only available in Colombia and Ireland. Access to a library over 100 quality games. Includes an EA Play membership for no additional cost. Includes all the benefits of Xbox Live Gold. And, I mean, all it says is the bundle's not available, and it is a test.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's coming soon. The question is when. But that is definitely going to be... I don't know. I always thought it would be out in time for Starfield, and it looks like, it would be. Maybe they want it out before Redfall and some of these other games. I mean, they've been testing it for a little bit. So I'm all for people saving money. I mean, because sometimes it almost looks like you're getting one over on Microsoft for Game Pass with all the stuff they offer and how cheap it is. And it's now I can get 4 of my other friends and Ultimate, and everybody can just play the same games and stuff. Yeah. So Crusader in the Super Chat says, "What's good, Jez and Rand? I'm getting 4 brand new users to add to mine as $5 a month is too good to pass up for them. Gonna Venmo me the cash." And that would definitely be the way to do it. But the one and only Fonz Gaming, who I just did his show not that long ago. I think you're doing his podcast this Sunday, right?
I am, with the Fonz. I'm doing Level 1 Up Gaming and also Fonz on Sunday. So I'm doing 2 podcasts.
Two podcasts. So. He says he's going to stick to Ultimate with his son. Which,
awesome.
That's really good. So it really depends on how many people you want to share it with. So yeah, maybe, the game, like I said, Game Pass, they're supposed to announce the second wave during that week. Maybe it's something they just hold off until the developer direct. Maybe they announce the family thing there. I don't know. We do have Aaron Greenberg setting expectations about just the 4 games, but just know that these are things that are coming soon. As well as Ubisoft. We have a couple Ubisoft things here that I thought were interesting. One being that Ubisoft Plus could be launching really soon because the Microsoft Store activity suggests. True Achievement, who basically scans all this stuff, says that it appears that Ubisoft Plus could launch on Xbox consoles soon, as we found a list of games on the Xbox Store that have recently been updated to include a Ubisoft Plus tag, which was announced literally a year ago now. January of 2022, Ubisoft Plus was announced for Xbox. It hasn't come yet.
Yeah.
They've added
some leak as well, wasn't it?
What?
We shared that on the podcast like a million years ago.
Yeah. We'd heard that it was in discussion. Yeah. But they literally announced it in a Newswire blog and also saying Rainbow Six Extraction was coming to Game Pass on day 1, but it never showed up. And then Ubisoft Plus came to PlayStation Plus or whatever PlayStation service is. So we're like, I wonder what happened there. But True Achievements is saying, so far, our scanners have picked up a list of 24 Ubisoft games with the Ubisoft Plus tag, including Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Far Cry 6, and Riders Republic. Interestingly, Ubisoft games already including Game Pass, such as Assassin's Creed Origins, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Far Cry 5, Rainbow Six Extraction, and others do not appear to have been tagged as Ubisoft Plus games on the store. So, yeah, but these are right now the games that are tagged Ubisoft Plus are Assassin's Creed Chronicles China, India, and Russia, Assassin's Creed 3 Remastered, Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, Assassin's Creed Rogue Remastered, Assassin's Creed The Ezio Collection, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Family Feud, well, there's a game you need to subscribe to right away, Fallout 3 Classic Edition, Far Cry 4, Far Cry 6, Monopoly Madness, Monopoly Plus, Rabbids Party of Legends, Rayman Legends, Riders Republic, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, The Crew 2, Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Breakpoint, Tom Clancy's The Division 2, Trivial Pursuit Uno, and Watch Dogs Legion. They've also said that they've picked up numerous DLC packs with the same Ubisoft Plus tags for some of the games listed above, as Ubisoft Plus does offer or does include access to DLC expansions, but no word on pricing and stuff. So, what do you think, Jez? Are you excited for Ubisoft Plus to eventually make its way? Could it be another announcement coming really soon? You know, like that sort of thing?
This is like... Ubisoft's had a lot of drama recently.
Yeah, well, we'll get to the second part of this drama.
Yeah. I mean, it almost feels like, who cares?
Who cares? What do you mean?
I mean, it's Ubisoft, man.
I know. Well, okay, put aside your personal feelings about Ubisoft.
It's a great value add for Xbox Game Pass.
Well, who says it's coming to Xbox Game Pass?
Wait, it's not?
Is it
separate?
We don't have anything to suggest that it is. This could be a separate service. This could be a separate service like EA Access was at one point.
I thought they were gonna drop it straight.
No, because remember, I was just reading it off that the Ubisoft games that are in Game Pass aren't listed with Ubisoft Plus. So I think it sort of implies that Ubisoft Plus is going to be a separate subscription, not included in Game Pass.
Well, I care even less then.
Oh, you care even less now. Wow, imagine that. Let me ask chat.
Who cares, man? Who cares?
Does
anyone play Ubisoft games now?
I don't know. Ubisoft. Well, what would be a good thing? Will you subscribe to Ubisoft Plus?
I mean, it could be kind of cool for if there's a lot of benefits for their service games that are popular, like Rainbow Six or For Honor. I'm surprised how much they've supported For Honor. You know, I mean, I gotta, you know, I hate on Ubisoft a lot, but I gotta tip the hat there a little bit for what they've done with For Honor, because that's like at least one original game they have in their pipeline, and also you got Division being supported as well. So if there's a value add there, then, you know, maybe it can be cool for people who are playing those games. But I'm just like, ugh, man, Ubisoft needs help, man. Someone needs to save that company. Then they need to get rid of their CEO, man. It's their CEO. Did you see? I mean, we'll talk about.
Well,
this,
here's the poll. Here's the poll. So we got: will you subscribe to Ubisoft Plus, not included in Game Pass when it comes out? And you have yes, love Ubi games, and hell no, I'm with Jez.
There's a lot more people than I thought voting yes, to be quite honest.
Well, I mean, Ubisoft is, you know, they do make, people love the Assassin's Creed games and stuff, right? So,
yeah, I mean, if you've never played Far Cry before and all that kind of stuff, it could be like a really high value option, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah.
So, before we get into, well, the juicy topic about Ubisoft and trouble, we do have some super chats I wanted to read off, all the people supporting the show. Sith Lord says, official Xbox podcast subscribes to Direct is talking to different developers about the games. Sounds like only Redfall will have gameplay. That's interesting. I'm surprised Forza wouldn't have gameplay. But very, you know, thankful for that information. Oda says, lots of speculation, nothing confirmed for a delay. Don't be shocked if all the smoke is untrue and it will release in first half of the year. By the way, June 31st doesn't exist. Yeah, I know, whatever. June 31st doesn't exist. June 30th. You know what I meant. And like I said, this is just speculation. Just gut feelings. I don't know when the Starfield release date is, and neither is Jez. Because remember, Jez said if he did, he'd leak it. So we don't know. Just my gut feeling. And if I'm wrong, you guys can all make fun of me. I'm a big boy. I can take it. Whatever.
And I'll make fun of you.
I just want Starfield to come out and be as good as it possibly can be. So Viper says they just confirmed on the Starfield support page a week ago that it's still releasing first half of 2023. May is the month of expiration. That's my pick. End of May. End of May is kind of packed. It does have Suicide Squad. Redfall's the beginning of May with a new Zelda game there. Plus the week after the end of May is also Diablo 4. It's a tough time to launch a game, but we'll see. Dead Planet says high on life stealing public discourse out from underneath God of War Ragnarok is proof the Sony formula is vulnerable to a newcomer if it's good. Xbox take notice. Chinook Guy says Todd likes matching day and month because it makes it less confusing for people overseas. Shout out to J-Tron for just the super chat. Don Otaku says, what kind of marketing do you need more than 1 month for a game of this caliber? I don't remember Elden Ring getting 6 to 8 months of marketing. Yeah, but usually you get like 4 months from announcement of release date to the actual release. I mean, even God of War Ragnarok, which didn't do much marketing until the very end, which granted probably doesn't even need any marketing because the first game did all the marketing it could for the game. That was still announced 4 months before. I find it difficult to believe that they'll announce the release date a month before the actual release of Starfield. I find that incredibly hard to wrap my mind around. I just don't think they would do it. But maybe Todd would. Maybe Todd's would be all about the surprise. But that's the thing. It's just, me and Jez talking, having a conversation. You guys are listening. We would have this conversation privately, on Skype back in the days. So, that's just my opinion and Jez's opinion. If you guys disagree with it, that's great. We'll eventually find out who was right, who was wrong, and it'll be fun. It'll be a good time. Jason says, mark my words, Starfield will be 60 FPS. It will be optimized out to wazoo. This is the first party title, not Gotham Knights. I mean, I hope so. And Oda says, Starfield has ray tracing. Can't stop talking about SF. Starfield. Yeah. Well, thank you guys for all the support. But Ubisoft, they're in some trouble, Jez. They're in some real, honest to God trouble. Their share prices are tumbled after their report here, their latest financial report. The company admits to being disappointed in the sales of Mario, Rabbids, Sparks of Hope, and Just Dance 2023. And following that news, Ubisoft took a 10.5% tumble, basically nearing a 7-year low for the company, as low as it's been since 2015. They confirmed that they canceled 3 unannounced games on top of the 4 that were canceled in July of 2022, so bringing the total to 7 canceled games in the space of just 6 months. And, what else did they say? Skull and Bones got delayed for the 6th time, I believe.
Yeah.
No longer coming March 2023, but coming early 2023, 2024, so who knows? And there was also a really, really bad quote from the CEO, Yves. I don't know if you saw this.
Yeah, he went off the deep end.
Where he basically was like, employees, you have to do everything. Let me try to find the exact quote here, because I saw this and I'm like, oh, so you're putting the onus on the employees now, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, he said that he tells the staff the next year is crucial, telling them in an email that, quote, the ball is in your court to deliver on time and on budget. Today, more than ever, I need your full energy and commitment to ensure we get back on the path to success. Yeah, because the problems with Ubisoft have definitely been the developers and none of the decisions made by the leadership at Ubisoft. But I just find it so funny. Shocking. Like, they have all these problems and they're just like, this is on you guys. You better work your asses off. I want you crunching 24/7, 365 to put out these games, because who knows what happens if we don't. So now this has led to acquisition talk. right? Because their stock is extremely low. And people are like, well, does this mean Tencent's going to come in? What about PlayStation? Of course, Xbox has always mentioned these sort of things. And I saw a very interesting tweet from the Grubster, who I think really nails it. Let me see if I can find it. What do the Grubster have to say on this? He said, Ubisoft definitely already did the rounds proposing acquisitions and mergers with similar companies, and it mostly got laughed at. It's just too unwieldy. Its strength was its distributed development structure, and now that is an albatross. And he says, I hope it tries to write it out because I think it might hold on to more people than if it tried to slim down for mergers and acquisitions. Either way, though, it seems grim. Making games is a rough business. And that's kind of put me in mind of Activision, where like they used to make all these games and now they only make Call of Duty, right? And you know, clearly they thought the best avenue was selling the company because maybe they didn't really see a future. And now Ubisoft, who was one of the premier publishers not that long ago, like honestly, the games that they had from Splinter Cell to the Tom Clancy games to Assassin's Creed, like you name it, they had it during the 360 era, early Xbox One. People were jealous of Ubisoft. And now people just laugh at Ubisoft. You know, they've took one too many different directions with stuff. A lot of their 7 canceled games in a year.
The sort of the parade of failed battle royales.
Yeah. Right? Hyperscape, you know, fail. And they have these X-Defiant and the Division Heartland and like the Tom Clancy one or the Ghost Recon Battle Royale that got canceled. You know, when you look at one of the big problems with Ubisoft is they don't really have a true moneymaker. They don't really have a live service that is bringing them the money. Like when you look at the other publishers, Activision is surviving off of Call of Duty and Warzone and all the money that brings in, right? Yep. Epic has Fortnite and all the money that brings in. EA has Apex Legends and all the money that brings in, but they also have, you know, Madden and FIFA, right? And basically all the money from the live services those bring in. Like you have these bigger companies, and Take-Two has Grand Theft Auto 5, you know? You have these bigger companies and they all have like one huge game that is basically bringing in all this cash to help make other stuff. And Ubisoft really didn't have that. Like maybe their biggest hit is Rainbow Six Siege, but that's long in the tooth. I don't think it's as popular as it used to be. I don't think it makes as much money as some of these other ones. And everything they've essentially tried hasn't really taken off or has been canceled. So Ubisoft's in this position where, you know, what do we do? You want to chase after that money, but right now that's like none of the things that they've done have actually, any of their free-to-play endeavors have worked. Like Roller Champions, Hyperscape didn't work. They canceled all the stuff. And they're just kind of like
Roller Champions thing. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah. And it's sad because Ubisoft was one of my favorite publishers. If you'd asked me during the 360 gen, early Xbox One gen, I would have been like, Ubisoft is up there. Now they're middle of the road. I do enjoy some of their stuff, but Far Cry used to be one of my favorite franchises. Now I can barely play Far Cry. Assassin's Creed, I used to play those all the time, and then they changed the formula and I didn't much care for it, even though I loved Odyssey, because it's like too bloated. There's too much there. It's not the experience it used to be, even though like the new Assassin's Creeds are extremely good for them. They're doubling down on making all these new Assassin's Creeds, but Ubisoft's got some major problems. And I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know who, you know, if Grubb is right, which I have heard, you know, that Ubisoft was shopping themselves like a while back or whatever. And like nobody really cared, which, you know, if Grubb is right, yeah, why would you want to buy them? How many employees do they have? Like 20,000, 40 studios? And I mean, sure, you can get them at a bargain now. Their market cap is extremely low because their stock's at an all-time low. But does anybody really want Ubisoft? And what, like, you'd be taking on all those studios and all those employees? it doesn't really seem like a good business decision, right?
It doesn't. There's going to be brutal layoffs at Ubisoft this year. I think absolutely brutal. We're talking maybe thousands, and it's going to be really bad because that, like you say, their games have become bloated. To the point where you could argue their employees, their workforce is bloated. Their games, their Assassin's Creed games especially, tried to do just too damn much, and for whatever reason, Ubisoft had this mentality of we want to keep people in the game as long as possible. And I guess their thought process was the longer they're inside the game, the more likely they'll buy these accelerators, like the little microtransactions or the cosmetics they put in their games, But I'm sure it does work, right? But those aren't service games, There's always a point, no matter what you're doing in an Assassin's Creed, where you just stop playing it. You just stop playing it, and part of that's because it's not multiplayer. It's not like Monster Hunter, where they keep adding new content. It's like, yeah, I'll jump on and play with my friends, because friends kind of go a long way to offset repetition in that kind of game. I think, So would I play Monster Hunter repeatedly if I was playing solo? Maybe not. My brother does. He loves it. He'll play it solo all the time. But I'm not like that, and I suspect a lot of other people aren't like that too. So there's always a point with a single player game for a lot of people where it's just like, oh, yeah, I'm done with this now, and I won't come back to it, no matter what they add to it, no matter what DLC, no matter what tie-ins they do. I noticed Geralt of Rivia popping up in literally every single game, all over the place, non-stop. And did The Witcher even have a tie-in to Assassin's Creed? I think it did.
I mean, Witcher was in. I think Witcher was in one of the Soul Calibur games. I think.
Yeah, and Geralt was in Monster Hunter. Did you know this?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, there was a Geralt DLC for Monster Hunter World where you fought the Ancient Leshen as a boss. But yeah, I digress. I think they're in deep trouble. I think they're in deep trouble, and they need to go back to the old ways, man. I think all of us are sort of crying out for more compact experiences as people get older. I don't want to play Assassin's Creed for 200 hours. I'd be happy with a classic Assassin's Creed 20-hour long experience. I'd be so happy with that. Stuff that ends. God damn, give me something that ends. I say as I put 10,000 hours into World of Warcraft. But I play World of Warcraft with other people. Sometimes there has to be a market for compact cinematic experiences that you just play by yourself, and clearly there is, because Sony's absolutely crushing it in that aspect right now. Splinter Cell. Where the hell is Splinter Cell?
Well,
I always troll around, and
they're supposedly remaking it. So
what happened to the Prince of Persia remake? That's just nowhere.
Who knows?
Nowhere.
They delayed it to make it better, I guess.
Beyond Good and Evil. Where the hell is that? That's like is that replaced Duke Nukem Forever as the longest game in development ever?
I think it has. It's been in development forever.
Absolutely crazy. It's nuts, man. It's nuts.
I don't know how they're going to turn this around. I mean, Yves is basically blaming the employees on it. You need to work harder. You need to work better. You need to put aside your social life and achieve the goals and the milestones and dates that we set.
It's a creative problem, though. It's not that they're not working hard. Their games ship really polished compared to some other companies. They've got tons and tons of features that work and that function, and the issue Ubisoft has, it's not a work issue. It's a direction issue. It's a creation issue. It's a artistic bankruptcy issue. It's when you go from Ghost Recon to Far Cry to Assassin's Creed, and they've all got the same story beats. They all use the same tropes. Their villains all have the same motivations. There's just no creativity. None. It's like games built on a factory assembly line, and that isn't the worker's fault. That's the director's fault. It's the CEO's fault. It's the people in charge who have said, we are going to make games on a factory assembly line based on a checklist, a formulaic checklist. you look at like a game like Elden Ring, or like look at From Software. What From Software is doing. From Software is like the antithesis of Ubisoft, the complete antithesis. So yeah, I think Eves needs to check himself and fall on his sword, man, and let someone else take over.
Sebastian
he's
Cooper
awful.
in chat makes a good point. You know what I find funny about Ubisoft? Wasn't it a few years ago they were fighting off a corporate takeover? Now they're begging to be bought. Indeed, they were fighting over a corporate takeover. I think Vivendi was looking to buy them, and Yves and them, and everybody was like, "No."
Vivendi screwed up Blizzard.
Yeah, but somebody tried to, and like everybody kind of rallied behind the Guillemot brothers, and you don't see that anymore. So, yeah, I don't know what happens. I really can't see Sony or Microsoft buying them. I just really can't. That's a lot of employees to add, a lot of studios, a lot of overhead. Do you get much? One of my buddies asked me, is like, what would be better for Ubisoft? Like selling off their IPs? Have a sale for who wants Assassin's Creed and who wants this and who wants that? And there were reports back in April that private equity firms were circling Ubisoft. Is it a possibility that one of these private equity firms buys Ubisoft and then just basically disbands the company by selling off pieces of it to the highest bidder? Like, you get Assassin's Creed in those studios, you get, the Tom Clancy stuff, and they sell it off to make their money. Does Tencent up their stake? Because Tencent owns a good portion of Ubisoft right now. Do they want to get more into the Ubisoft business? That's the question. It's like, that's how also vital the gaming business is. Is once, sometimes you're on top, and then you're not, right? Ubisoft was people looked at them and were like, wow, they really know what they're doing. And now it's like they're basically, demanding their employees to work harder, and it's on them. Like, you have to do it for us. That's how these things can change, because the gaming industry shifted to live service, microtransactions. I know we all here are focused on like the exclusives that Xbox or PlayStation or Nintendo put out, but the money they really make is really in the 30% that they take from the full game sales and the microtransactions. It's all Fortnite, Warzone, Apex Legends, and all that stuff. That's where the money is. And Ubisoft just doesn't have any of that. And it doesn't look like they will have that sort of game that is needed to survive in this new video game industry, unless you're a hardware manufacturer like Microsoft or Sony. And even still, Sony's out here being like, we got 10 live services coming, because they saw the writing on the wall, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. It's dark days for Ubisoft and coming. As for the poll, we had what we have here: 594 votes, and 75% said, hell no, I'm with Jez, to the idea of subscribing to Ubisoft Plus, not included in Game Pass when it releases. And only 24% said, yes, love Ubi games. And that's even with not knowing what the price of it is either, or if it would even include day one games. Because now on PC, they do have a tier where if you subscribe, you get Ubisoft games day one. I would imagine that would go up more if Ubisoft games were included day one, but we don't really see that on console. So I don't know if they'd offer that. But yeah, so Ubisoft's in trouble. Ubisoft Plus looks to launch on Xbox soon. Game Pass Family Plan also coming. But Xbox wants to save the world, Jez. They have a new update, which I was surprised to turn on my console last night. And it asked me basically like, oh, your console's now in whatever the word for it is. Like, I usually have it in sleep, but now it's in shutdown mode. Because Xbox is now the first carbon-aware console, and the update's rolling out to everybody really soon. The Xbox is now the first gaming console to offer carbon-aware game downloads and updates. So basically, when your console is plugged in, connected to the internet, and regional carbon intensity data is available, Xbox will schedule game apps and OS updates for your console at specific times during the nightly maintenance window that may result in lower carbon emissions because a higher proportion of electricity is coming from lower carbon sources. So starting today, insiders will notice the Xbox Series X and S consoles automatically update the shutdown to the shutdown power option. And this one-time update to power settings will reduce your power consumption while the console is off, but not affect performance, gameplay, or your ability to receive overnight updates to the system games or apps.
Man, I just want to shout out Brad Sams' clickbait title on this because I thought it was hilarious. He said, Xbox is making your console slower. And
Yeah.
I thought, wow, you sneaky boy.
The thing is, though, it's still
It's
pretty...
like 2 seconds. The way it reads is like it's gonna lower the clock speed of the CPU.
Yeah,
or
right.
something.
Like it's actually But
it is just like literally they add like 5 seconds to the boot time or something. I always have since the summer. I've had my console in shutdown mode, not because I think it's going to save the world, but because it's cooler. When you've got that thing in sleep mode, it emits. It's warm. It's like 40 degrees centigrade. I don't know what that is in Ameri grades or whatever you call it, but it's warm, man. And last summer it was so damn hot. I was like, dude, I've got to unplug as many electrical appliances as I can. So I stuck the Xbox in shutdown mode to keep the room cool. But I have no idea how that carbon awareness thing's going to work, where it sort of prioritizes electricity based on the grid. I know in the UK. We have a lot of wind power. Like the entire sea around the UK is like filled with windmills, right? And a lot of the power, if it's windy, a lot of our power usage is generated by the wind, But I don't know how Xbox is going to tap into the data. That's very interesting. I want to learn more about that. But this is part of Microsoft's. We won't stick on this topic very long, but this is part of Microsoft's mission to become carbon negative, not just carbon neutral. They want to be carbon negative, and they're doing it by investing in new technology, reducing the carbon footprint of the products they sell, putting Azure underwater and stuff like that. And they're going to boil the ocean. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I like it because I think a lot of companies they use the whole green thing as a marketing thing, really. They use it as marketing, but Microsoft feels like one of the few companies that's actually actively doing it for real. So at least they're being real about it. They're actually making investments in carbon capture technology and all this kind of stuff. So at least they're being real. Will it save the world? I don't think so. But as we established earlier, Rand, I'm not just a glass is half empty kind of guy. I'm a glass is shattered on the floor, treading in broken glass kind of guy.
You definitely are. You definitely are.
But at least they're trying, eh?
Yeah. Well, interesting. We were talking about Callisto Protocol earlier. There's an article out now that Krafton's 200 billion paid new game sluggish, securities companies lowering target stocks, and it says that Callisto's new Krafton's new Callisto Protocol, which was released last month at a cost of about 200 billion, I think maybe yen or whatever the currency is in Seoul, over 3 years is observed to badly influence its future performance due to a sales shortage. It says here that, quote, the company expected cumulative sales of 5 million copies, but considering the current sales ranking, cumulative sales of 2 million copies will not be easy until this year. Korea Investment Securities also lowered its cumulative sales estimate at Callisto Protocol from 4 million to 2.1 million on the previous day, and lowered its operating profit estimate for the year from 813 billion won to 629.3 billion won.
Yeah, so won is South Korean currency. But Krafton's another one that's in trouble, I guess. PUBG Mobile is doing really well. What did they call it? I can't remember what it's called now. But they used to be called PUBG Mobile, and they changed the name of it. It's an absolutely huge game. So like, I wouldn't say they're in trouble per se, but it does seem like they'll probably double down on mobile and the East, rather than try and make these kind of games. I think I think it's a shame actually that Callisto Protocol failed, because this is gonna be to Krafton. They're gonna be like, oh, maybe we shouldn't make these kind of traditional kind of games. Maybe we should stick with mobile junk and pay to win crap. You know, that will probably be their takeaway for Callisto Protocol flopping. You know, so.
Yeah,
But the economy's just rough, man. It's just rough. They should take that Game Pass deal, man. I mean, maybe they can't because
they can't. They won't be able to. Marketing deal with Sony.
Yeah, well, maybe they'll be like, shit, we should have taken that Game Pass deal. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what happens, you know. If your game doesn't catch on, games cost so much now that, you know, it really, really hurts. So, yeah, I don't know what else to say. So that's the new update. Carbon aware system. I think we talked about everything here. Bethesda developer event, Ubisoft in trouble, Game Pass. Oh yeah, here we go, Jazz. Your favorite segment of the Xbox 2 every single week.
Oh no.
More information about Xbox Activision Blizzard King and what's going on. And there wasn't really much until yesterday when people started making fake tweets about you and things you were saying, because it appears that Google and Nvidia have expressed concerns over the acquisition to the FTC about the deal. And, well, you know, people already coming at you because of your comments about the deal. But is this the first time for you that someone literally made up tweets pretending it was something you said?
Oh no.
No, it's not the first time?
All the time, man.
Oh, really? They do it all the time?
People do it all the time. It's the first time someone has really aggressively been like, oh yeah, he definitely tweeted this. I tweeted something to the effect of it. I said it was a joke. Their argument was a joke. Why didn't they just use my actual tweet instead of making one up? I don't know.
Curse you, Jez. Curse you.
Curse
if you actually
me,
talk like that. And pro tip for anybody trying to make up fake tweets, make sure you have the time listed after,
accurately.
You know, like accurately, because I think the person tweeted at 3:00 p.m., but the tweet said 7 p.m. and it was like, wait, how are you doing this? But again,
tweeting with the time machine,
losers, right? But you know, this isn't really a surprise because Google's never supported anything Microsoft's ever done, so it's not really a surprise that they would complain to regulators about the deal, right? It's funny. It's like they're concerned that Microsoft would have a monopoly in cloud gaming when they voluntarily left the industry because they sucked, and Nvidia. Yeah. Who does GeForce Now, right? The streaming service, which they announced they have 25 million members, which seems to be about the number that Xbox has for Game Pass, or maybe Game Pass has 30 million. They're concerned. They're concerned, Jez.
Sorry, go on.
They're concerned that they won't be. They're concerned that they won't have access to stream ABK games that they don't have access to stream anyways.
Yeah, that's also funny.
Like they don't.
Go on.
They're not against the deal. I know a lot of people were like, someone tweeted out, you know, they're like, oh, like they've joined Sony in protesting the deal or whatever. Like, Nvidia, at least if you read the article, Nvidia's not opposing the deal. They just expressed concern about like having open and equal access to games on a streaming platform. And well, Google's Google, and maybe this is a little bit of payback for Microsoft, you know, addressing concerns over the ARM deal that Nvidia was trying to do. Maybe it's a little tit for tat, but yeah, I just find it funny that they're like, you know, they're concerned about not being able to stream ABK games, which they've never been able to stream. You know, you can't really make this stuff up.
I think, like, at the end of the day, the headline on that article was bad. Like, it implied that they were going in aggressively like Sony is, but they were asked to comment. They were asked as market leaders to comment, and they offered their opinion. Like, Nvidia has been vocal about not being able to get certain content onto its platform, because when GeForce Now started, Nvidia just assumed that everyone would be okay with them putting their games onto GeForce Now. Because the way GeForce Now works is, it goes through your Steam account, right? Like, it opens the game in Steam, and it's like, well, you know, if you own the game, then we'll provide you the backend to stream it. But it's like, hang on a sec, Nvidia. You can't just take our content without permission and build a service on it. That's what they wanted to do. That's what they thought they were able to do. They were like, yeah, we're just giving people permission to, we're just giving people the ability to stream their Steam content from our cloud without giving you a cut, And I think it's ridiculous that they thought they could do that without asking. So yeah, like initially they were doing that, and because basically all NVIDIA GeForce now it's basically a PC in the cloud, right? It's literally a full-blown PC in the cloud. It works great. It works really, really well. I've been using GeForce Now a little bit lately because I've been reviewing a Chromebook, which is supposedly designed for cloud gaming. So GeForce Now is like one of the things about it. But Ryan, I don't know if you know this, but GeForce Now also has a free tier, unlike Xbox Game Pass.
Really?
There's a free tier. I think you get like an hour a day or something like that for free. So that's probably how they've managed to get those subscriber numbers. But I also agree with NVIDIA. I think NVIDIA should get access to the games, and I think they should be able to do a deal. I don't think Microsoft should block them out because NVIDIA's offering something Microsoft isn't and probably never will, which is the ability to run a PC game, a full-blown PC game from the cloud. I don't know if Microsoft will ever offer that because that's going to be monstrously expensive. It's not like running an Xbox console in the cloud to run a PC in the cloud. NVIDIA can do it because they make the GPUs, right? They can cut a lot of costs by the fact that they're building the GPUs, right? But Microsoft has to buy their GPUs from AMD, and it's much cheaper to just buy an Xbox server blade than it is to build a full-blown PC. So I think NVIDIA should get some of that stuff. I think it's a fair concern to make, and I think Microsoft and NVIDIA should do a deal. I think the concession should be like, yeah, we'll put Battle.net on GeForce Now if we buy it. Yeah, I don't. What's wrong with that? Bernard Peel Jack says there's no way NVIDIA has 25 million paying for GeForce Now. I mean, yeah, maybe, but I think it's probably that free tier that's boosting them because they don't have the content really. They don't really have the content. They don't have the content like Xbox does. But I think Microsoft and NVIDIA should do a deal, and I think fair enough. What is laughable though is Google complaining because, like you said, Google voluntarily exited the industry. So if Google's opinion on cloud is relevant, it just isn't. It just isn't relevant. The only thing that it could be relevant is regards to mobile. And even then, it's like, well, you've got a duopoly. You've got an effective monopoly, and you've been criticized for how much you're gouging devs. You blocked Fortnite on Google Play because Fortnite dared to try and take a bigger cut of the money they make, when all you're really doing is obfuscating the fact that you can install Fortnite separately on an Android phone, and they make it really hard to do. It's not like on Windows, where it's really easy to install anything you want on Windows. They make it difficult, and they also throw up warnings like, "Oh God, if you allow sideloading, you could be susceptible to viruses," and all this crap. So I think Google, again, their opinions are relevant while they've got this duopoly, and they don't allow open, easy, consumer grade installation of third-party software. Yeah, there's the Galaxy Store on Samsung phones, which is a lot more open than Google Play is. But even then, it's like, there's not the same kind of ecosystem that Windows has. I'm really interested what Apple thinks. We haven't heard from Apple.
Yeah, we haven't heard from Apple at all. But will we hear from Apple?
Probably not. I think the idea of Apple having a say is also kind of laughable, but I don't know. But yeah, I think that's about it. That's about it for Activision Blizzard this week. We're supposed to get the CMA ruling the end of this month, or preliminary ruling. I don't know. But there's never ending. You know, it's going to heat up now the next couple of months. I think.
Yeah,
as
it's
we
gonna heat
get
up.
deeper into the rulings and all that crap.
You know, I hope you got your fingers crossed, Jazz. You know,
I do, man. But you know, to be honest, Blizzard's doing pretty good lately. Like the main reason I wanted this deal, selfishly, you know, I analytically I want it because I think it'll make Xbox more competitive, which would be good for everyone. But personally, emotionally, I wanted it because I thought Blizzard could be better without Bobby Kotick, and I still think that. I think they will be better without Bobby Kotick. But honestly, they've been killing it lately. Like World of Warcraft's better than it ever has been. Yeah, Overwatch is a bit of a mess, but Diablo 4 looks amazing. So, kind of like, you know.
yeah. But then what happens if the deal doesn't go through and Bobby regains control and it's just, yeah, you never know. Jazz.
Yeah, I mean, you could argue that the only reason they're doing so well lately is because they are thinking like we are gonna be bought by Microsoft, so we need to make a better product, you know. But I also think it's Mikey Barra. Mikey Barra is at Blizzard, and you know he's a hardcore WoW player, and he's a hardcore Blizzard fan. He's like a Blizzard fanboy. Mikey Barra is. You know, it's running Blizzard. He's probably like his dream job, you know, and you can sort of feel it. Like the changes they make to World of Warcraft are so fast at the moment, reacting to fan feedback. It's never been this fast, ever. It's never been this fast. So, I'm pretty excited about Blizzard at the moment. But again, it could be just because they're trying to keep the stock price up, like Mr. Toxin Chat just said.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't know. I hope it goes through for Xbox's sake, you know, and because and for everyone's sake, Diablo in Game Pass, save everyone $70. You know, Call of Duty in Game Pass, save everyone $70. You know, Phil Spencer name-checked StarCraft, which made me excited. You know, who knows? It just feels like there's more possibilities when it's part of a platform than there is if it wasn't part of a platform. Like I want to see Sony buy Square Enix and unlock the potential of Square Enix when Square Enix is part of a platform rather than chasing trends to give shareholders a dividend, you know. Like the dividend with a platform is the services and the hardware and the accessories and the third-party software sales. But if you're just a publisher, you've got to chase the trends all the time. You've got to make pay to win. You've got to do all this crap, you know. But if we have a more platform-oriented game industry, they can dictate what kind of games, you know, it'll be more like the artists leading things rather than trends. I don't know. Because they're sort of like, we don't want to make pay-to-win games. I feel like the industry is in this sort of battle between a race to the bottom with pay-to-win games, crypto scams, and all this kind of stuff. Like if Square Enix was part of Sony, they wouldn't be talking about NFTs and all that kind of crap.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
All right.
You think Sony likes NFTs?
I mean, you never know. I'm sure they're probably looking at NFTs. I'm sure Microsoft is looking at NFTs just because they don't want to be
Maybe I'm
behind
naive. Maybe I'm naive, Rand.
Maybe.
But I just like the idea. I like the idea of
owning Ubisoft then? Fixing them up? Nobody? Is that an impossible thing?
Maybe Nintendo.
Nintendo?
Yeah. You could have like Activision goes to Microsoft. Nintendo can have Ubisoft because they had the whole Mario Rabbids thing, right?
Yes.
Which underperformed.
But Nintendo
apparently.
makes a console that can't play Assassin's Creed games, though.
Yeah, but maybe that's going to change in the next couple of years, you know. And then maybe who does EA go to?
Amazon.
EA no. Oh,
EA goes to Amazon.
EA can stay independent.
Sony gets Square.
EA doesn't need the help. EA's okay. Let's leave EA alone. And then Sony can get Square Enix. That's all good, man.
Yeah.
I think that's the future. I think you know, a lot of these big publishers will find themselves attached to platforms, and then a lot of the creativity will come from independent developers who are completely independent, and they're cutting deals with subscription services, kind of like Netflix. You get these indie studios and indie movie makers, and they're just like, yeah, make our Netflix stuff, and then they'll cut a deal with Netflix. Maybe that's better, maybe it's worse. I don't know. I do know it's cheaper. Like, there was a time in my life when I owned 5,000 DVDs. The time before Netflix and stuff like that. I used to buy DVDs on eBay for like two quid a pop. Old movies, TV shows, because I had this thought, like, I need to have all this stuff. I need to have like an archive of all this stuff. I don't know why at the time, but then Netflix came out, and I was just like, oh, I don't need this stuff anymore. And I literally took like 3 boxes of DVDs to a charity shop because I couldn't sell them because they weren't worth anything. But I don't know.
Yeah, we got a super chat here from Iron Lord's podcast, the one and only Lord Cognito, saying, off to the gym, but congrats to my good friends Lords Randall Thor and Lord Jez Jeremy Corden for 250 episodes. Tremendous accomplishment and pillars in the community. Salute. Well, thank you very much, Cog. I made a guest appearance on Iron Lords for a little bit this past weekend. It was fun.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it just dropped in there.
I love doing Iron Lords. I need to come back on sometime if you guys are.
You're doing the world tour this week. We have Fonz Gaming in the chat, super chat, saying, I hope Jez will be ready for 5 questions on Sunday. Hopefully he will be. Let's see if he get all 5 right. Koloki saying, I live in Montreal and was a tester in QA for Ubisoft since the Rayman days and when they used to make the Batman games. Man, what a fall from grace. So sad. Nate92 says, will Starfield have space vampires? I want space vampires. Do you want space vampires, Jez?
I do. Space vampires are cool. Although, it just popped into my head when you said space vampires. Did you ever see... You've seen Hellraiser, right?
Yes.
The movie?
Yes.
Did you know there's several Hellraizer movies? After
there's a whole bunch.
Yeah. Did you ever see
really bad? Yes.
What was it? I think it was Hellraiser 8 that was set in space.
Yes, I did see that one.
Oh man, it's such a shame because Hellraiser 1, 2, and even 3, I could tolerate 3, but Hellraiser 1 and 2 were great, amazing movies. 2 of my favorite horror movies ever. Hellraiser 3 was like, ooh, I don't know, and then just what the hell? 4, 5, 6. 7 and 8 are just what? They're remaking it, aren't they?
The remake already came out. It was quite good. I really enjoyed it.
Oh really?
Yeah.
It was on Netflix or something?
No, it was on Hulu.
Oh, Hulu.
Yeah.
The one that I don't get.
The one that you don't have. We do have a super chat here from Danny P who wants to know what Xbox studio announces a new game this year. Which I guess it depends on how they do their E3 again, but certainly possible Compulsion finally reveals their game. They've been working on it for a while. Who else is likely? I think it's too early for In Exile. I don't know if you consider Stoic's Project Belfry. I mean, they're not an Xbox studio, but it is an Xbox game. I think Compulsion would be the most likely, with maybe Coalition, if there is a new IP of small, but yeah, it really depends on what their E3 show is going to be. So, Elvin Gully says, I disagree, Jez. Screw NVIDIA. Xbox deserves exclusives. It's bad enough they want to share with Nintendo and Sony as is.
Yeah, maybe. I know a lot of people don't like my Microsoft should share Kumbaya takes. But I think it's fine for them to share. I don't know, because we get the exclusivity on Game Pass at the end of the day, and that's the value, right? I'd rather developers were just able to share their content wherever. It's kind of like you pay the subscription, you get it on Netflix, but you can also buy it on DVD if you don't want to subscribe to Netflix. Kind of see it like that. I don't know.
Right.
Maybe it's naive. Should we do some Q&As?
Yeah. Let's take a the Patreon Q&As. But thank you, everybody, for being here. We had well over 1,700 people. If you enjoyed the show, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe if you're new. We do have some questions from the beautiful and wonderful and amazing people over at patreon.com/XB2. One of the tiers is questions like these. So head on over there. Check out the description if you want to get access to that, plus Xbox 2 Ultimate and Xbox 2+1, I guess, which we'll be doing later in the month. CJ8093 says, hey guys, really glad the developer direct has officially been announced, and I'm not bothered that Starfield isn't involved, but do you think there's a chance at the end there could be a one more thing with the Starfield release date, with the standalone Starfield show to come in the near future?
I think if for me, this is a new show format, right?
Yes.
So you kind of want it to be memorable. You don't want it to be sort of blandy McBland. So maybe they could do a one more thing at this show, or maybe they could have a big surprise. I mean, it kind of creates an expectation then that every single one has to have a big surprise. But
that's true.
But I think, but if they can line up some kind of surprise, then I think it would be cool to sort of drive that hype and make it memorable. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, it would be memorable if the one more thing was, here's when Starfield's releasing and the date of the standalone showcase for it. I like that thought. I like of how you need to make this special, people to tune in, or at least people remember it, the news cycle and all that. And maybe the one more thing is what Grubb has sort of said. Maybe it's Tango Gameworks revealing their Dune title. And we have one more thing coming, and here's a trailer for that game, and maybe a dev talking about it and being like, all right, that's your one more thing, brand new game. Especially since they're setting expectations to be, it's just these 4 games and nothing else. Yeah. But I don't think Starfield, I don't think they'll be like, oh, here's a Starfield release date. Even though that'd be super cool, I don't think that'll be the case. One breath, Jez, don't know who I am. He says, not a question, but just want to say thanks, guys. I listen to y'all at work. You make cleaning up trains after homeless people a lot of fun. Y'all have me laughing. One day I will catch you guys live.
You're awesome, man.
So we know what one breath, Jez, don't know who I am. We need to find out who this person is. He changes his name every single week.
Yeah, he's a cool dude with always making me laugh with his new names. So
indeed. Achievement says, this might sound crazy, but hear me out. First thought, Starfield should avoid a late June release because of Final Fantasy 16, but since it's only releasing on PS5 and not PC, I think Starfield should definitely release next to it. Being on cloud, console, and PC is going to have so many hands on it. Very well may overshadow Final Fantasy and finally show Square Enix that Xbox is not a platform worth skipping, because if it was releasing on Xbox, they would definitely push Starfield further back. I mean, I sort of came on to Iron Lords and said as much. I was like, you could release Starfield around Final Fantasy 16 and just give the middle finger to Square. You don't want to release games on our platform? Fine, take that Sony payout. But guess what? The sales, the marketing, everybody talking about, you're about to get Elden Ringed, or you're about to get Horizon Forbidden Wested. Here's Starfield.
Forbidden Wested.
Here's our game, and you know what? Enjoy it. Enjoy your the depressed sales of Final Fantasy 16, because now Starfield's out. Give that middle finger to Square. Why not?
Wow,
they're giving the middle finger to Xbox users. They're giving the middle finger to Phil and company. So why shouldn't you give a middle finger back? I know that's probably not the smart business thing to do. You don't want to burn bridges. Maybe you can repair those bridges. And one of your predictions you did say was that Microsoft would fix their relationship with Square this year. But I mean,
that would kind of screw with that prediction if that came to pass.
I don't think they'll release it around Final Fantasy 16 as a middle finger, because we mentioned we think it's releasing after June. But if I was salty, I would do that. I'd be like, you know what? I got the bigger game. I'm releasing on more platforms. I'm gonna have more people playing this. I'm gonna have the better reviewed game. Screw you guys. I'm saying my game's coming on June 22nd. You move. And then force Square Enix to delay their game. being like, all right, well, yeah, we're coming in August or we're coming in September. We need more time, right? Yeah, do that. But, they wouldn't, because it wouldn't be good business to. It wouldn't be, it's not in good business to make enemies. So.
That's true.
Ryan Kipple says, great Xbox 2 Ultimate show the other day. My wife and I love listening to you guys. Random one today. What are some of your favorite... What are some of your video game related pet peeves?
Ooh.
You got any, Jez? Any pet peeves?
Yeah, the first thing that came to mind was actually a trend that's kind of stopped now.
Okay.
But in the sort of at the end of the 360 era and at the beginning of the Xbox One era, there was this trend of forced multiplayer.
Ooh, yeah, forced multiplayer always sucked. That's the pet.
Like Deus Ex: Mankind Divided. Was it Rise of the Tomb? Well, it's Tomb Raider reboot out of multiplayer game. Like they're kind of like fun or okay for like 5 minutes, and then it's like, yeah, this isn't actually very good. Like Doom 2016 had a multiplayer. I actually thought Doom 2016's multiplayer was pretty good, actually, but it clearly didn't resonate because they scrapped it for Doom Eternal. But then they came back with another forced multiplayer that was even worse, in my opinion. That weird 2v1 thing, which has its fans, but again, that's one pet peeve. The other pet peeve, I suppose, is Ubisoftification, where like genres don't matter anymore. It's just like every genre in one game, no focus, endless bloat, that kind of stuff. Do you have any, Round?
Well, I mean, this is basically in my mind. The shimmy through small sections or crawling through event is starting to really become a pet peeve, That would be one.
The SSDs were supposed to solve this, but I think the problem is that games are still developed for PC, and they can't predict that the user will have an SSD. So,
how about
screws out.
Awful checkpoints? I had the situation in Callisto where I had to replay 15 minutes because I didn't get to the next checkpoint, and I just hate losing that amount of time. It makes me like want to not Callisto's not the only game to do that, but it makes me not want to keep playing when I was like, oh, I gotta replay 20 minutes of this. I guess another one would be level grinding in games, although I don't really do it much more. And you play JRPGs and you just, all right, bro, you just need to go grind out for a bit and then continue on. Like, they may have been cool when I was 15 or 16 or, whatever, but that definitely doesn't fit me now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I would be like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe like everything. Oh, another pet peeve of mine is basically the idea of live services and how you never get sequels. Right? And let me explain this one.
Okay.
Let me explain this one. So, yeah, I put in 200 hours in Rainbow Six Siege. I put in 200 hours of Warzone. I put in 100 hours of Apex Legends. I've played a lot of these free-to-play games that, are games as a service that continuously live forever. But at some point, even PUBG, played 900 hours of that, but we don't play anymore. But at some point, me and my friends fall off the game, and then we never play it again, right? In days past, that wouldn't have been a problem because you would get a sequel. There would have been a PUBG 2. There'd be an Apex Legends 2. There'd be Rainbow Six Siege 2, right? And even though you stopped playing, for instance, Halo 2, I stopped playing Halo 2, you still came back for Halo 3 and played it. Then you still came back for Halo Reach, even though you stopped playing Halo 3's multiplayer at some point. You still came back for the next one. My pet peeve is that you don't get that anymore. That it's just one continuous game, and once you fall off of that game, you never get back on the game. So there's no way I'm ever going to get back on Rainbow Six Siege or Apex or any of those games I mentioned simply because they're never going to make sequels. Because why would they? So to me, it's just like those games are basically as good as dead. To me, that's a more recent pet peeve that I have.
So, I mean, yeah, I agree with that, but forced sequels can also be annoying too. Like,
Sure, I suppose.
my God, the Fortnite, I mean, the Overwatch debacle, There's always this question, like, should they make a WoW 2 or should they do a Minecraft 2 and, that kind of stuff. It's interesting to think about.
Yeah. I mean, those are just some of mine.
Yeah.
Let us know in chat what are some of your pet peeves. We have a super chat here from Hood Ninjachi Gaming Entertainment. Is it just me or are Microsoft rewards more difficult to earn and more focused on earning points through purchases?
I was literally just thinking that because
were you?
Yeah, while just now during the show, I don't know why, I randomly checked Microsoft Rewards because I can't really access it in Germany because it's region locked. My Microsoft account is UK or whatever. So I checked Microsoft Rewards because I'm currently in the UK. Like every time I come back to the UK, I check Microsoft Rewards. I still earn points in Germany, but I can't redeem nothing. And I noticed you can turn Microsoft Reward points directly into Overwatch currency, which is great, for one thing. And also League of Legends points and also a bunch of other stuff. But I did also notice that I didn't have that many points. Like usually when I come back to England, like I got way more points. So, and then I was literally thinking earlier, is there shrinkflation on Microsoft Rewards? So I don't know. Maybe they have reduced the amount of points you can get. I don't know, but yeah, it definitely seems like I had less than I expected. Anyway, maybe I've just searched less. Yeah, I use Bing unironically to get those Microsoft Reward points, man. I just got 1,000 Overwatch coins for doing nothing. That's nice. That's nice just for using Bing, and Bing works fine for most things.
Tom909 says, didn't realize it was episode 250. Well played, lads. Thank you. Ralph Wiggum, a big time Patreon member, says, cheers on the 250th episode, guys. Make sure you guys check out Ralph's channel. He's trying his best to put out shorts and regular videos. I know it's tough, buddy. But you just got to keep at it. YouTube's a grind. And, I didn't like my videos in the beginning too, but you get into a pattern, you get into a rhythm. You start to, you never like, even now, like, I think like my videos are bad, right? And they could be better, but you just constantly do it, and it's something I've fallen off last year
every time.
Not doing content as much as I wanted to, which I'm trying to fix, but it's all just about doing it more often, getting more comfortable speaking, and eventually it'll just be like second nature. Like, I remember when doing a podcast, I'd get butterflies in my stomach. I haven't had that in forever.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, when I first started doing it, speaking to 1,700 people live, it could be very anxiety-inducing for some people. Just speaking live in general. Like, when I stood up in front of 300 people at my sister's wedding and gave that speech, some people can't function under that. But
poor Rand.
No, I was perfectly fine. I was more than happy. I wish I was slimmer. I wish I looked better. I wasn't as big as I am, but that didn't stop me from speaking it. Going up there and reading what needed to be read and trying to be good for my sister at her wedding or whatever. It's just a matter of just practice makes perfect. One Bad Mother says, congrats on 250. Here's the 250 more Phil McMayo, shrimp and beans, and quote predictions. He's got predictions in quotes. So
that's Rand's predictions, quote unquote.
Yeah.
Man, dude, I just spent I got 1,000 Overwatch points from Microsoft Rewards. I still can't afford anything. It's all too expensive. I can afford a spray or a pose. I can afford an emote.
Jeez.
Man, the Overwatch store is just terrible. It's awful, man. It's terrible. So bad. And all the skins are like old skins anyway. I've got most of them. Oh, well, whatever.
Dylan says I have terrible takes on movies. What? You have a terrible take on my take on movies, sir. What do you mean? I have the best takes on movies.
What's your favorite movie?
My favorite movie?
Yeah.
Ever?
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings. Easy. There's not been a movie better than that, and there never will be movies better than that. It is
you know what?
It is the absolute peak of cinema.
It's overrated.
It is not overrated. It's underrated, if anything.
You know what's better than
Nothing.
Lord of the Rings?
Nothing's better.
Waterworld.
I thought you were gonna say Avatar, and I would laugh.
No, not Avatar. Waterworld, man.
I don't even really talk about my movie takes on here, so I don't know how you could say I have horrible takes on movies. Talk more about TV
movie
stuff.
I watched last weekend. I never mentioned it actually. I watched The Outlaw Josie Wales, Clint Eastwood, 1976. Have you seen that?
I have not seen that.
Brilliant. It's really, really good. It's about a cowboy who shoots people.
Forte says the monthly Game Pass milestone for points got reduced to 500 reward points instead of the 1,000 it used to give you. So.
Okay, maybe that's it then.
Carl Andrews Jr. says sequels to live services don't always carry over. And Elysium Law says pet peeve, locking console games to 60 FPS when VRR exists. Imagine uncapped console games, 80, 90 FPS, so smooth. I mean, I like that.
Got more Patreons?
Yeah, we do. We do have more Patreon questions. Although not a lot this week. Silas says, what are the games you're truly excited for and completely let you down? Well, I mean, right now, Callisto Protocol. It was my second most anticipated game of the year, and it hasn't lived up to my expectations. I wouldn't say it's completely let me down, but it definitely didn't live up to what I thought it was going to be.
The one that I think of is Dragon Age 2. But it's weird because initially I hated Dragon Age 2. And I spent like a year or two just being like so dejected that it was so different from Dragon Age Origins. Because I was expecting like the leap in quality between Mass Effect 1 to Mass Effect 2. I was expecting that for Dragon Age as well. But there was so much like reused areas and like copy paste, and the combat was different and weird, and a lot of stuff was weird. I didn't like it. But then they released a bunch of DLC and updated it, and then I decided to come back to it, and then I ended up loving it. And now I really, really love the game now. So like that was a weird one because I've never been that disappointed in a game in my life, and then to sort of turn around and end up loving it because the DLC really fleshed the game out, really fleshed it out. So yeah, I ended up loving that game. But games that I was disappointed in, I actually, and this is going to be a hot take, Rand. Are you ready for this hot take?
I'm ready for this hot take.
And I know it's a hot take because I know you like the game. But I was disappointed in BioShock Infinite.
Really?
Yeah. Now, that's not to say that I don't acknowledge that it's a really good game. Like, it is a really good game. The story is really good, and the twists and turns and all that kind of stuff. But I just hated the setting a lot. And I was just like, I just hate these bright colors and all this stuff. I really, really didn't like the setting. And I think like the sort of, I don't know, some of the American subtext or whatever didn't resonate with me as a Brit, maybe, or whatever. I just really liked Rapture. Like, for me, BioShock was Rapture, you know, underwater kind of thing. And I realized I can't just keep going to Rapture over and over and over and over and over again. But yeah, BioShock, I didn't like it that much. Is that weird?
I mean, no,
everyone's gonna be really mad at me now.
I don't know if I was really mad at
you. I love the ending. Like, the ending was spectacular, and I was like, man, that is really clever. I didn't sit there thinking it was a bad game. I was just like, it's not as good as BioShock 1 and 2 for me. No. I love BioShock 2 as well. Like, for a lot of people, BioShock 2 is like the bad one, but I really like BioShock 2. So cool playing as a Big Daddy. And now I'm just sort of disappointed that there's no BioShock.
I mean, I got a couple I could tell you, right? Resident Evil 6.
Oh, oh.
I thought
I
it
didn't
was
even
quite disappointing.
I didn't even play Resident Evil 6 because of how disappointed I was in Resident Evil 5.
I wasn't
So
disappointed in
that's
5, but I was quite disappointed in 6. And I'm a huge Resident Evil fan. So I would
yeah.
definitely say that. Back in the day, Devil May Cry 2. I
Oh
love
yeah,
Devil May
yeah,
Cry
Devil May
1.
Cry 2.
I love Devil May Cry 1, and
Yeah,
then you play Devil May Cry 2, and you're like, is this even from the same... What is going on? Is this even from the
yeah.
same people?
It wasn't, was it? It was different team.
It may
I
have been a
think.
different team, but I mean, it's still the same company.
But
Another one.
you didn't know at the time, yeah.
Another one. Aliens Colonial Marines.
Ah, right. I never played that.
Because
that's like a classic disappointing game, isn't it?
yes, because number one, I'm a huge Aliens fan. It's what we always wanted. Gearbox was doing it, and they were just coming off of Borderlands hype, right? Like, oh, maybe they'll do it right, and it was just awful, just awful.
I actually bought I bought Alien Colonial Marines not long ago. I bought it like during the Xbox One generation, ironically, because I wanted to see if it was really as bad as everyone said it was, and yeah, it was. I didn't get very far.
Got a couple Xbox games in here. Perfect Dark Zero. I remember I was so hyped to play that. It was one of the 3 games I bought with the console when I was able to get it, the 360. I got Call of Duty 2, I got Perfect Dark Zero, and I forget the other one. And I literally played Perfect Dark Zero for like 30 minutes and then never played it again.
I was quite disappointed in Deus Ex Mankind Divided, because I loved the original game and Human Revolution as well. I really loved. And Mankind Divided just felt a little like you could feel that there was constraints in every aspect of that game. It didn't feel as they didn't have the same breadth as the original original reboot or whatever. Well, it's not really a reboot; it is a sequel or prequel rather. But yeah, I don't know. There's loads of games I've been disappointed in, I guess, over the years.
Another one I could say is Too Human.
Oh yeah,
They're all the hype about that game and everything.
Our buddy Justin Roby worked on Too Human.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Yeah, he did. It was one of his games, and he's. I talked to him about it like off the record one time, and you could just hear the disappointment in his voice. Like he really believed in that world and stuff, and it is like it's a cool concept, isn't it?
It is.
I guess execution.
Yeah, left a lot to be desired. I did not care for that. Let's see here. We got another one here. Ralph Wiggum says, "Hey guys, hope you guys are having a good show. If you guys can pick a book to make into a video game, what book would it be, and what type of video game will you like it to be?" Ooh, this is interesting. I would say you could get the Mistborn game, the Mistborn books from Brandon Sanderson, but realistically, I would want a Stormlight Archive video game, and it would have to be like a Ghost of Tsushima open world Roshar where you're playing as Kaladin or Dalinar, and you're just kind of on the Shattered Plains fighting against the Parshmen, or the who are the enemies? What's their name? I forget. And yeah, it would be an incredible game. Incredible. Mistborn you could do with a lot of the powers you have of pushing and pulling off things, flying around and stuff. That would make for a great setting. But it would definitely be Stormlight Archive or Mistborn. What about you, Jez? What book would you want?
Man, we've established that I don't really read books.
Yeah, I know. And so
we're gonna have to pick a book that I have read then. The selection process is tough because I haven't read many books in my life. I lie. I read a lot of nonfiction. So, you know, I like reading nonfiction. I don't like reading fiction. So I have read books, but they usually philosophical, sciencey kind of books, right? But as for fiction books that I've read, we should make a game of It Came From Beneath the Sink. Goosebumps by R.L. Stein. I used to read Goosebumps, mate. You ever read Goosebumps as a kid?
No, I've never read Goosebumps. No.
You never read Goosebumps? Oh,
no,
man,
I'm sorry.
There was this one book that I really remember really vividly, and I read it so many times. Like the cover was destroyed and the pages were all ripped and whatever. But it's about a sentient sponge that some kids move into a new house with their family, and they find beneath the sink a weird pink sponge. That's evil. Evil. So yeah, make that into a game.
You know, it's
don't have anything else.
Somebody mentioned this in chat, which also about like pet peeves. I totally forgot about it, but crafting. I really don't care for crafting in games, and even worse than crafting, weapon degradation. Where then you have to worry about your weapon breaking, so you have to repair it. I hate those things, and they're in so many games.
I love it. It's so
hate
immersive.
Weapon degradation.
I can't wait for the Fallout 4 remaster, because I'm going to play that shit in survival mode, baby. Where you've got to drink, you got to find water that isn't too irradiated and stuff. I'm going to play it hardcore, man. I'll stream it on the channel. We'll play it in maximum difficulty in survival mode, and we'll dress up and we'll play it with a gas mask on. Really get it. I find it to be immersive when you've got that added chores on top of it. I don't know, but I'd actually just thought of a game that actually is my most disappointed game of all time. Actually, Rand.
What
I should have mentioned this. Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain.
Really?
And I know that's going to be controversial as well, because that game for a long time was the highest rated game on Xbox, which I thought was absurd. I despise that game. I despise it. I thought it was I thought the reviews were bullshit, and B, it's completely memorable. Like Metal Gear Solid 1, 2, 3, and 4 are 4 of my favorite games of all time, and Metal Gear Solid 5 was such a letdown. So lame. Everything about it just pissed me off. Hated that game.
Yeah.
Because it was unfinished. You
know. We do have one more Patreon. Mythic Marty says, just want to say congrats on the 250 episode milestone. Thank you. Thank you all the Patreons for putting your questions. But we'll take some more questions from chat. If you have anything you want to ask, make sure you @ me so I can see it, and we'll do our best to answer those questions. I guess we got one here. Rethardo says, since the Stalker dev said we would get a release date soon, do you think it would be at the showcase? Also, did you see the leaked Atomic Heart gameplay yesterday? I have not, although someone sent it to me, so I might watch it. And
I saw the only part of that leak that I saw was their loot system. Have you seen it?
I have not, no.
It's really badass. It's like a vacuum. And you hold the vacuum up, and it sucks all the loot.
Oh, that's cool.
Out of the cupboards. So like the cupboard doors fly open, and all the loot just flies out like a vacuum. It's really cool.
I don't think
it's like that's much quicker than like looting each individual drawer and cupboard. You just suck all the loot out. Yeah.
I was gonna say I don't think we see a release date for Stalker.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah. Let's see.
It's
what
absolutely
else.
Crazy what that studio's going through. Absolutely crazy.
Yeah. Let me see if there's any more questions people have. Let's see. I don't see anything else. Surprised nobody's got more questions, Jez. Oh, Sir Bloodraven wants to know any info on Wandering Tower. I'm going to say no on that one.
Yeah, I haven't got anything new on that. It's just kind of expectations. I think some of us expect it to be revealed this year, but don't know, ultimately. Just have to wait and see.
What else we got? Sherman Jacobs, what's up, buddy? He says, any updates on the Game Pass app for LG TVs? Thanks, Jazz. That's your area.
Oh yeah, sadly not. I just know that it's coming. It'll probably be the more recent LG TVs, but they are working on it from what I understand, according to conversations I had at Gamescom. So, yeah.
All right, you know what? I don't see any more, so I think that's where we're gonna call it. Thank you guys for being here with us for 250 episodes of the Xbox 2. Hope you enjoyed the rebrand, the new intro trailer, the new looks for me and Jez. And we will be back next Friday on the 20th for another episode. Hopefully there'll be some new cool things to talk about. And then the showcase is the week after, which I can't wait to see. More info about Redfall and all these other games. So, hope you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. And keep it gaming.
Take care, everybody. And remember, XB2, manscaped.com.
Yep.
20% off.
That's true. Later.
Take care, everybody.